How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses on VTWProductions.com and YouTube.com with your favorite show hosts, Ara Still.
Fenurian.
And Volacel, and we're here to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week. But first of all, if you would like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com or by following us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in our Discord server, which you can most easily access by going to vtwproductions.com and clicking on the show logo on any of our recent show posts. It'll take you directly to our Discord server where you can interact with the hosts in real time during the show or at any other time that we're on.
Yes. All right. So indeed, we actually do have an email for later on in the show. There's a nice change. I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He uses the term Activision head crab. I'm intrigued already. So, all right. On the stream today, I'm playing a little bit of House Flipper. I haven't actually even fired this game up before. I just picked it up on a sale at some point and never played it. From what I understand, it's about getting what appears to be an ex-meth lab house and doing it up for sale. I don't think it's supposed to be an ex-meth lab, but that seems to be the condition that these houses are in.
Yeah, the game, when I heard about it, I actually sort of felt weirdly uncomfortable. Like,
yeah.
what exactly are we training children to do here? And if we are either we are training them to be real estate moguls, or alternatively we are training them to think that they would make good real estate moguls.
I think it's definitely the latter. Because, yeah, in reality you need to deal with things like fluctuations, vindictive mining conglomerates. I'm speaking from experience here.
U.S. Telecoms.
U.S. Telecoms.
There you go.
The town council.
Your state legislature. The local police force.
The
stuff like that.
Properties.
Termites eating your consoles.
Yes. They ate my GameCube, the bastards.
There was a meth house in my old neighborhood that got busted while I was still living there. And that place was on lockdown for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't let anybody near it. And then they couldn't sell it for several years afterwards.
Well, they aren't really safe.
Yeah, like nobody was allowed to go in the house for weeks, and they weren't allowed to put it on the market for a very long time.
Like, the reality is you can tell when a house is being used to make meth because there's sort of a shimmering greenish haze around the eaves of the house that you can see in twilight and early in the morning. And although meth cooks are never up earlier in the morning and it's too cold, so you might not see it then, but in the evening certainly. But that's basically the volatiles settling in everything in the house structure. It takes a long time to scrub that crap out. There, more information than you needed to know about identifying a clan lab in your area.
Yeah, I don't think I needed to know all that.
Don't do drugs, kids. It's bad for you.
Yep. So, yeah, this is apparently my house I'm starting in, and apparently your character is such a slob that they leave bricks laying on the floor.
They're a reformed meth addict trying to make it in the real estate agency.
Leaving bricks lying on the floor is pretty standard for, like, the average student flat.
Usually they're at least in places that make sense, like, doorstops.
Well, cinder block furniture is sort of a staple.
True.
And I'm using the word furniture very generously.
Dear. So I'm going to try and clean up these houses a little bit and see how we go during the show. I'm probably going to make an absolute mess of this. But never mind. Also, I'm not going to make any promises that I will not paint every house fluoro pink. Just saying. Anywho, for my week, it's been a fun week. It's been a Monster Hunter-y week, but I'll talk about that in a moment. It's also been a junk food anime week. And it couldn't be any more junk foodier than JoJo.
Yeah. I've still not gotten around to watching it. Like, at this point, I have to watch it just so that I can understand the memes.
Yeah, and everything is memes with JoJo's these days.
Were you just getting caught up to
Well, to say getting caught up is... That's going to take a lot of doing, because I'm just going through Stardust Crusaders at the moment.
Okay, so you hadn't started the series yet.
This is the one of the pre-series series that you need to watch.
Yeah. I gave up at Stardust, at the end of Stardust. I said that's enough of that.
Apparently things only get more flamboyant from there.
It was just so boring. Like, some of the characters are fun and everything, but the overarching structure of the show just put me to sleep.
Yeah.
It's the most monster of the week, generic monster of the week you can get.
It is very, very monster of the week. I'm not sure exactly where they go after this, because it's generic monster of the week, but at least the plot is very straightforward. It's let's travel to Egypt and beat up Dio before he flamboyants all over the place or something.
Well, isn't it usually let's travel to X and beat up Dio?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the running plot for JoJo. Just Dio gets more flamboyant as the series is progress. He's actually rather
Pretty impressive for a guy that's just ahead.
They must have been going for quite a few generations now and still failed to completely and thoroughly beat up Dio.
I think they're up to 6 different JoJos now. 6 generations of JoJo who have not managed to completely destroy Dio.
Some are in alternate universes, though. There's different continuities for some of the arcs.
Just to confuse things even more, yes.
Yeah, I think after Arc 5, they start having alternate continuities because they ran out of stuff they could do with the timeline.
Yeah. So,
in the first.
Stardust Crusaders is, I think, where a lot of people say start here. Like, you can watch the first series, but there's nothing about stands in that.
Yeah. I think the second season's the best out of the first 3.
The thing is that I've seen people say that watching Battle Tendency is mandatory.
Right.
Yeah. And Battle Tendency is way, way better than Stardust anyway.
Yeah.
Like, if the show had kept doing stuff like that, I might have stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it went Stan and Monster of the Week instead of focusing on the Haman stuff.
Yeah, the Haman stuff just kind of disappears in Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah, they had a good thing going with the Joestar from Battle Tendency being a smart fighter rather than a strong fighter, and really explaining everything he does in fights, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then we have Jonathan.
Yeah, who's
or
just...
Joseph.
God.
Yeah, Jonathan. Who's just a big muscly dude with no personality that punches things really good.
Yeah. Joseph is the old guy. And he kind of gets... Every now and again he gets to do something, but for the most part he's just relegated to hilarious...
Yeah, he's the protagonist of Battle Tendency.
Yeah. But then
Reaction
he just
images.
becomes the reaction guy.
He's the oh my god guy.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Even when it doesn't warrant it, he screams oh no or oh my god or something like that.
Because he's supposed to be American.
Because he's American.
He came from Brooklyn.
It's funny for a while, and then it stops being funny until he starts whispering it.
Even then, like, that's still something. Jonathan's just a brick house that punches stuff real good.
He has a hat.
GUD good.
And he just says good grief a lot.
Yari, yari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he apparently has best stand.
Yeah. Just because reasons, he has a literal god tier stand.
Yes.
That can move so fast, it moves faster than stop time.
Yeah. There's a few little things that kind of annoy me about it, like, especially once Iggy turns up.
Did you watch Battle Tendency?
I did not. I couldn't actually find it because Crunchyroll can't organize things to save their life.
Just go to the 100% totally legal website that I know you go to all the time whenever you can't find it on Crunchyroll.
The one that is completely legal, yes.
Yes, and just go watch it instead and have a reference point for how far the series drops.
I don't think Crunchyroll actually has it. I think Crunchyroll has a compressed version.
Ew.
I think I had to watch it in 480p even.
Ew.
Where I'm pretty sure it was available.
When I say compressed, I mean that they've cut it down.
The abridged version.
It's abridged. Heavily abridged.
Abridged as in, books abridged, not as in anime abridged. You know, the good
Well,
abridged.
both the first arc is super abridged, no matter what you do. Like they just rush through it as fast as they can.
Yeah.
And battle tendency is cut down a little bit to get to the more popular stand stuff, but it's still better than the stand stuff, even cut down.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a few Ryi moments, especially when Iggy turns up and they start feeding him bubblegum. Just, no. Do not do that, ever. Gum is probably one of the top 10 worst things you can ever give to your dog. Do not do that.
JoJo's was good for one thing, though. It set up some ideas and character archetypes early on and made them codified in anime, where other people picked them up and said, I think I can do this better. And we got stuff like Yakuza based off of it that draw heavy inspiration from it.
Yeah.
And just do what JoJo's trying to do better.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure if I'm going to continue watching it after Stardust is done. Because, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Like, from where it goes from here, I think it seems like the thing becomes even more memey. At what point does it actually just stop being its own anime and just become a sequence of memes?
I don't know.
Yes, it happens at some point.
I stopped watching after Stardust, and apparently the next one is just super meme-tacular.
Yeah. All of the JoJo references.
Just all of Season 4 onwards to me is one big motivational poster with the word JoJo on the bottom.
Yeah. That's why JoJo reference itself is also a meme.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm wasting my time watching it, but I just keep watching it anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
I compared it earlier in the week. I compared it to basically being the KFC of anime. And I think I can see where that comparison comes from now. It's completely unhealthy, unfulfilling, and yet you can't stop eating it.
They had a bacon wrapped chicken sandwich at KFC a while ago, and they don't have it anymore.
They've also got the burger, which is made out of chicken patties and filled with bacon.
Yes.
Oh, the double down.
Yeah, the double, or I think the double or whatever they keep calling it. They keep changing the name of it.
I don't know if they even sell it here. I just heard about it, and people were for some reason outraged about it, and I don't really understand why you would be outraged about it.
Oh, it feels like you're going to die if you eat one, but it tastes wonderful.
It does. It tastes incredible, but you do feel like you've just stuffed cork into all your arteries afterwards.
You can hear your arteries protesting.
Yeah.
Like, they are screaming out when they realize what's coming.
Yeah, just do not... Well, actually, have one, but no more. Any more than one will probably kill someone.
I fail to see how it's substantially worse than anything else that they sell.
Yeah, at least it has the pretense of not being... Well, no, that's not true. Okay, you raised a point.
I think it's just so stereotypy. It's easy to make fun of and call out about it.
Yeah, and I think that's really all that there is to it, is that it's fun to make fun of. And I think that's literally the entire thing.
Yeah. Alright, what else did I do this week? Lots of Monster Hunter. I ended up farming Fat Lavassioth.
Why?
Because gels! I need those sockets.
You should have farmed the greatest Jagras instead. He's way more fun.
Fat Jagras is a lot more fun and more challenging.
Lavassioth is easily one of the most boring fights in the game.
He's the only monster I only have, 4-star research on.
I've got 1-star research on him.
Before this event, I only had 1 kill for him. And that's all I think I had needed.
2. I think I had 2, and the second one was because of some aborted project or other.
Right. Yeah, Lavassioth is just bad. He is easily the worst monster in the game.
The only reason I was killing that dude was because it was bugging me that his research level was so much lower than everybody else.
I've got a few in that boat right now. Great Gyros being the most obvious of them.
Yeah.
Another monster who you have almost no reason to ever kill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe there are some weapon trees that have a good paralysis weapon from Great Gyros, but
Gunlance apparently does.
if you say try and make the Great Gyros great sword for the paralysis, it's got like 700 damage.
He was always like in the way on the way to Odegaran sometimes while I was doing that.
He is probably my most incidentally killed monster.
Yeah, which
Like that.
you
He's
don't
the most.
go farming.
I'm most likely to kill Great Gyros because he got in the way when I was looking for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like he's actually pretty handy to have around. Like if you are trying to kill Tempered Odogo or something, just find a Great Gyros.
Find him with his buddies. They'll paralyze the dumb dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Odogo can murder regular Gyros. But if you bring him to a Great Gyros, that guy will help you out the entire fight.
Yep.
It's super convenient.
I always, whenever it was possible, would drag Odago up to the bone patch.
Heck, I do that with Kushal, not Kushal, with Val Hazak. And it still works.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually he'll suck their life out and use it to super you, but
well, yeah.
Until then, you're fine.
So yeah, Great Lavasioth. Very boring fight. Like
it's just. Did he ever bug out? You guys probably didn't kill him enough to have this happen, but several times he bugged out on me, just the regular Lavasioth, where he would get stuck and wouldn't come out of the lava, and he'd be underneath the ground, swimming around where there's little holes near him.
Oh yeah, he does that all the time.
He does that. It's a thing that he does, but he does it for a random amount of time.
Yeah, it's not so much a
so
bug.
You probably just got unlucky.
Dick.
Yeah, it just I was standing there for like 5 to 10 minutes one time before I just reloaded the map and gave up because I assumed he was stuck.
Nah, you shoot him with pods and sometimes he'll come out. Other times he'll just ignore you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've actually had to poke him in the face with my lance in order to get him to come out.
He can end up in a disengaged mode when he does that, and then he'll just stay down there until you can catch him poking his head out and pod him.
Yeah.
So not the most cooperative monster in the world.
No.
All of his strategies are incredibly boring.
Yeah. At least Gyrototus has the benefit of being a new monster. New-ish monster.
Well, he's also for beginners.
Yeah.
Right? There's no super hardcore tempered Gyrototus.
He's also a mudfish.
He's a mudfish.
Yeah, and I think as a mudfish he almost makes more sense. Because he sort of looks like a mudfish.
Yeah.
He's ugly, and he's boring, and he takes forever to kill because you keep tripping.
Yeah.
That's what Gyrototus is. Lavasioth gets stuck.
Yeah. Lavasioth just ignores you. And yeah, I think his jewels or his drops are actually limited as well, because I seem to keep getting
they're always
same stuff over. Yeah.
Oh no, that part's you being unlucky.
Oh, right. So yeah,
because there are people get attack jewels and stuff as well, so
yes,
it's just not very common.
People have been saying that they've been getting really good stuff off them, and I've gotten a couple of decent gems for other builds.
It's been the drop tables have been data mined, and they're set up in such a way that it's very easy to look like you're on a streak of unreasonable bad luck, but it's just because of the way the tables are set up.
Right.
The odds of actually getting the good stuff are reduced twice over because the random drop multipliers effectively apply twice.
Ew.
So you are very, very likely to get bad stuff like Specimen Jewel over and over again, and much less likely to get anything that you give a toss about.
Right.
Like it's not like getting a rare weapon on WoW. It's much worse than that.
Yep.
It's like getting a rare weapon on WoW, but then you have to roll again, and 90% of the time it turns grey. That sort of thing.
Yes. So, well, I'll keep hammering away at him. Eventually, he's got to drop artillery jewels. Like, they're super common everywhere else. Not that they've actually dropped everywhere else while this event's been going on, but yeah. I used to have a whole stack of
I
them. I
think-
melted them down.
This sounds an awful lot like Fern being unlucky, and not at all like an actually limited drop table. Because
gonna-
if you can't get anywhere else either, that's you being bad at drops.
Yeah, that's probably fair. What else did I do my week? I didn't even play any more Kingdom Hearts, really. I'm sitting at the border to the Frozen area, but a lot of people have said that Frozen in Kingdom Hearts is easily the worst world to go to.
Well, it's like I said. I bet you my bottom dollar they delayed the game in order to jam more Frozen crap in there.
Well,
So it's going to be done with half the effort than anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, from all reports, Disney had an absolute stranglehold on that IP in particular, and just kept getting in the way.
Well, yeah, because it's worth more money than any of the others right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kingdom Hearts though right now, I've noticed that the internet's starting to do what it does after hype season ends, and it's starting to turn on Kingdom Hearts 3 a little bit. The more negative opinions are getting more of a spotlight,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are not as hyped up about the game now that they played it.
I think that what they need to realize is that they're 10 years older than the last time they played it.
Yeah,
In some cases, older. But yeah.
I did play a bit of Kingdom Hearts 1. I hadn't played it in forever and forgot what it was. But I got the package of them for my birthday. And I was playing through it because I got it a little earlier than the other gifts. And holy crap, that game is just heavy is the word to describe it, I guess. Because it was like early PS2
Yep.
when people didn't quite have like the standards for 3D game design like Devil May Cry and stuff out yet.
Mhm.
So they didn't know how to make 3D combat work, and just swinging the Keyblade feels wrong after playing modern games. It feels like it weighs a ton, and it never acts like you think it does, like you think it should.
Yeah. They sort that out mostly for 2. For 3, it's
Yeah.
okay, but
I felt that the combat in 2 was too floaty.
it was incredibly
Yeah.
floaty.
I've
Very
noticed
literally
that
floaty.
everybody seems to have an invisible parachute in Kingdom Hearts nowadays.
Oh yeah. 3 doesn't. 3's the same. This gravity be damned.
Gravity schmavity.
Yes. So if you start a mid-air combo, you just ain't coming down. So yeah, I'll get back into that eventually, but I didn't really care much for Frozen as a movie, and I don't really care much for it in Kingdom Hearts, I guess.
Well, it's not good as a movie.
No, it's not. Tangled was better.
Yeah, it's a decidedly like mediocre, average movie. It's worse than a bad movie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just a person who is not as good at writing as they think they are, who teamed up with a director who is not as good as they think they are to make a movie that is not as good as everybody seems to think it is, but
But it
has
has
the right things to hook kids.
Yes.
It has mascotable characters and a song that happened to get memed.
Yeah, it's not even a good song by Disney standards.
No.
Be Prepared was way better.
Be prepared.
They still
was way
haven't topped
better.
it.
But as far as Disney Pixar movies from the same era, Tangled was better, Moana was better, definitely more fun. So yeah,
Well, I know it's a feminist story, so I'm not really that well disposed to it. Mind you,
Yeah.
Frozen is as well, so...
It has a song about shiny things. I can't fault it too bad.
Well, everybody should be able to empathise with that.
Exactly. You've got to be able to sing it happily about shiny things. Also, giant enemy crabs. Who sings the song
It's
about
al-
shiny things?
It's also quite possible that I'm overexposed to Polynesian lore.
That's also a good possibility.
Is it in Polynesia? I haven't seen the movie.
Like, I was absolutely sick of hearing about Maui when I was in school.
Yeah.
I thought it was like in Hawaii or something. I had no idea. I didn't care about that movie at all.
No, it's all Maori lore.
Yeah. And now it's just been pushed through the child-friendly filter of Disney TM.
Except with extra feminism. Because in real Polynesian culture, they killed girl children because they couldn't fight.
Yep, they did. They kind of skipped over that bit.
Yeah, not really so family friendly.
Yeah.
You're also not allowed to talk about that, or you'll get done for hate crimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really pick up on the feminist aspect of it because I wasn't really looking for it at the time. So the rest of it, I just put up to Disney purification.
Not knowing Polynesian anything, because I'm not from that area of the world. Just seeing the marketing, it gave me a girl power vibe, but I didn't get a feminism vibe from it.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, it's somewhat subtle. Somewhat subtle. It's more subtle than Frozen. But
yeah, Frozen's pretty.
Frozen's as subtle as a cinder block to the back of the head. But Moana is more subtle in the sense that there are more distractions to prevent you from noticing. But it is incredibly feminist ideology steeped in it. It's just all done through symbols as opposed to directly stating everything the way Frozen does.
So anyway, Disney movies. Just Disney in general.
Go watch The Lion King. Not the new one. The new one's got a lot of people that are really bad actors in it, and is not the old one. Go watch the old one.
Speaking of being memed on by Disney, have you seen those pictures of Genie?
Yeah!
Will Smith Genie?
This is
just why?
Will Smith Genie is everywhere, and it's so funny.
It's weird is what it is.
Why? Why is this? I know that Disney have no ideas, so they have to remake everything, but...
Yeah.
Sometimes Will Smith really badly CGI'd in with blue skin.
Why couldn't they have just put him in a freaking genie outfit?
And paint
Why do they
blue?
have to color him blue with weird CG? You don't actually need very much CG to do the genie thing.
No, you don't.
He was super over the top in the animation because it was animation. You could do that. There's nothing that says that a genie has to be a weird animated creature.
They've got to try and top Robin Williams. Because Robin Williams is Genie. There's no question about that.
Yeah, Will Smith Genie isn't Genie.
Yeah, it's just not Genie. Try as you might Will Smith, but you will never top Robin Williams in that performance.
No, it's...
he's probably not trying to either.
No.
You can't do that. It's got too much sort of weight in people's childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is not that. The problem is the directorial decision to make this creepy monstrosity of a coloured person, bright blue human being.
That could have been taken wrong out of context.
Isn't this Blueface or something?
I don't know.
Why?
You gave me the idea. You have only got yourself to blame.
I do.
There's what is with Hollywood and all these weird CGI movies? We had Sonic, and we had Detective Pikachu, and now we have Will Smith Genie.
Yeah.
Good old game.
I don't think we've still actually seen what Sonic looks like.
I hope it gets cancelled.
I really do.
I don't want to live in a world where the console wars are revived by the Sonic the Live movie trying to top Super Mario Brothers the Live movie.
At least Super Mario Brothers the Live movie has cult appeal because it's so awful.
The interviews and behind-the-scenes shenanigans that went on behind that movie are actually incredibly interesting and make for a good read or watch. What's his name? The dude that played Mario was just drunk the entire time.
Yeah.
He was so wasted some days that if they didn't catch on, he would actually hurt people. He slammed the guy who's playing Luigi's hand and broke it.
Yes,
that's pretty normal for low-budget movies. The guy playing King Arthur in Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail was not sober at any point during the filming.
No.
He turned up smashed every time. And if he wasn't smashed when he arrived on set, he'd be smashed before filming started.
Yep. To be fair, the composer was also naked the entire time.
I suppose these are the Pythons we're talking about.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the Pythons if they weren't doing something weird and silly. What were we talking about again?
Your week.
Right. So that's been basically my week, is not Kingdom Hearts. and terrible Lavasios. I also took a stab at the latest update for the Witcher crossover, but that involves a lot of screaming.
Like he took a stab at you.
Yeah. I got pummeled up and down the garden path. So I'll leave that whole bit into Vor's week. What else did I do? Nah, not much else. I just got to say I'm in the market for a new tablet though. I've still got a Galaxy S, which I just found out just poking around on the line yesterday is actually 5 years old. So getting 5 years out of a modern mobile device is not a bad effort.
That's about the cutoff point for app stores.
Yeah.
Where they stop supporting it.
So, the battery's starting to fail, so, yeah. But you know what this means? It's everybody's favourite game of let's actually talk to our telecommunications provider.
Who is it this time? Telstra?
Telstra. I could change to Optus, but their coverage is even spottier. And I don't even have the option of going to Vodafone because their coverage is non-existent. So, yeah. Our telecommunications companies tend to have monopolies. But there's only really two of them.
Yeah.
So we shall see how that goes, and if I can actually talk to them without tearing my own hair out, I may very well have a new tablet in a couple of weeks. And here's going to be the big experiment, can it do unlimited Blade Works without lagging?
Nobody can do that. Noble Phantasm without.
That Noble Phantasm is the laggiest.
I'm pretty sure even my iPad Pro lags during it.
Yeah. So with that open segue opportunity there, Vol, your week, sir.
I guess I'll take. So Valentine's events continuing. I farmed out most of the shop. The story was the same as last year, but since it's effective. But the challenge quest is added in, and I did not have a good time with that challenge quest. I do not have the right roster to deal with that problem. Unlike the previous challenge quest, the one from the prison tower, this one is just a boss rush. It's a pure boss rush. There is no trash. It's just 14 servants back to back.
Have fun.
And they all have roughly 150,000 hit points. Some have more. It's not pleasant at all. And it's just the thing is that it's really, really it's set up in a cruel way where you can't easily plan around it, because the first wave has one servant who can pierce invincibility and another servant who can't pierce invincibility but pierces defense with the Noble Phantasm. So your defensive options are kind of limited to being able to obliterate at least one of those servants before it can Noble Phantasm, and then adopting the other strategy. That's pretty much all you can really do.
Right.
Which is rough if you don't have the right tools for that job, which I didn't. And I got wrecked over and over again. Thank goodness it's only 5 AP to try, because I got wrecked repeatedly. I think I tried all kinds of different strategies, but I think the one... What did I get mileage with in the end? I don't actually remember what one kicked off my successful run, but my successful run did not start out. Usually what happened is I'd kill about 2, maybe 3 at best of the 14 servants and then get destroyed because the timing on things didn't line up correctly. I didn't have something to deal with the Noble Phantasm, that sort of thing. I think I went with double Merlin, but I didn't put them both in the front line in the end. I had a Merlin in the back line and a Merlin in the front line because I knew from past experience that the AI would terminate the Merlin in the front line and he would not do anything. So I did that so that I was able to carry a Merlin through at least a reasonable amount of fight. And can't remember who else I used. But eventually I got whittled down, and it wasn't looking very good. I was like, well, I guess I've managed to make it to halfway. and things aren't looking good. But this is the furthest I've managed to get by a huge mile, and I can't think of anything else. So I'll just use command seals. That didn't go so well. My servants got wrecked again, and there was still some left, and I was like, I guess I'll just see it through to the end. So my servants are all dead. Martha comes out as my last. Ruler Martha.
Mm.
She then proceeds to kill 5 servants by herself. Just one after the other. Bam, 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 and seals the deal.
Servant is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it. Her stats aren't particularly amazing. Her kit's not particularly amazing, but it just seems like she always comes through in the pinch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It just works.
I got there in the end, got my lore. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't a clean run, it wasn't a strategic run, but it got the job done, and I walked away with my lore, and so I'm happy with that. For the rest of the event, I'm just sort of passively spending my AP to farm up Cursed Beast Gallstones. Just not really going great because the drop rate's not awesome. But it's so easy to farm these events that having really good drop rates would probably be too generous.
Yeah.
So they've only got modestly good drop rates. Once you get to the top end, you can basically just pick the class that you want to fight against and then steamroll those 3 waves. Although you still have to be careful of things like the demon boars and dragons that, get 3 turns and hit everybody on your front line with every attack. They can go very badly even if you've got class advantage. But yeah, so we're waiting for the first of the Epic of Remnant arc chapters to come out soon. Can't remember which the first one is. Maybe Shinjuku. But yeah, FGO sort of in a holding pattern now for the time being until stuff starts to happen again.
Yeah,
I haven't gotten a huge amount of mileage out of Mysterious Hero X Alta. I didn't really expect to, but I have gotten some mileage out of her, which is more than I expected, because the reality is that I hadn't had an option to just put in a glass cannon I need to blow somebody up option, which had enough stats to actually make it work, because my go-to for that was Beowulf, and Beowulf just didn't quite cut the mustard. He's exceptionally fragile even for a berserker, and his output's not really enough to justify it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, today they announced his first strengthening quest in Japan, and it makes the most hated skill in the world is instinct, because all it does is generate one time a bunch of stars and has miserable cooldown. But they've buffed that through the ceiling, so now when he uses it, in addition to getting a handful of stars, he gets massive star weight, which is the big weakness of berserkers, other than the fact that they're berserker, is that berserker star weight is almost non-existent. Almost anybody can take stars away from him. But he gets a massive, up to 5,000% star weight boost and up to 50% crit damage boost. So then if you happen to have a Merlin on top of that, you can, boost that by another, 100% or something in total. Or more, depending on the circumstance. So basically in the right setup, 2 years from now, Beowulf, who I have often griped was no good, because he was all I had and he was no good, he's going to become probably the most powerful single target 4-star berserker in the game 2 years from now, because the sheer amount of, in one turn he will be able to put out enough damage to basically kill everything that doesn't have break bar, which are going to become a problem. I suppose that was the whole point. Break bars were supposed to be a problem so that they would favour long-term strategies. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good enough strategy to stop Double Merlin being a monstrously effective strategy, but you can't have everything, I suppose. Anyway,
yeah.
So what else did I do? Monster Hunter. So when I left off last week, I had just managed to beat the regular Leshen.
Yes.
The new Leshen is in the game this week, and he's a big deal. He has his own separate entry in the notebook. He's not just a Leshen with the stats turned up. The ancient Leshen is serious business. Very serious business. He's not a regular monster the way
No.
the other Leshen is. No, he's sort of like a quote raid unquote monster. Not the way Corvée Taroth is, but the way Behemoth is, in that you cannot feasibly fight him without a group because you can't weather that sort of beating on your own. It's not reasonable to attempt to do so. He's got 67,500 hit points, which is what people are saying, which is like a third more than Behemoth.
Yep.
Than extreme Behemoth, not regular Behemoth. So yeah, not a prospect to solo. There will probably be people who manage to solo him, but I think that they'll be the very top end players.
Mm-hmm.
They will have to do very, very well in order to manage it. They'll probably need perfect play with a min-max DPS only set to do it.
Yeah.
But
and you'd have to make sure you take the exact right weapon too.
yeah, well, I think that it's a good thing to have a monster in the game like that. Like, I was not really that amused by the regular Leshen because I felt like it depended too much on just stalling out the player, but and waiting for the player to get chipped away by Jagresses, wait for the player to have bad luck and get stun locked by Jagresses, that sort of thing. But Ancient Leshen actually does fight you. But he's very, very vicious. It's just brambles everywhere. I haven't even worked out how to get out of the way of some of his attacks. They're so big. He's got shades of Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva in there, in the way that he's been developed from the previous Leshen. But yeah, serious business monster. A lot of people are going to have a lot of fun taking that one down. The fact that Leshens are such small targets makes them very difficult to fight. And the fact that he's accompanied by Revoltures and Jagresses means that you can't use the Temporal Mantle to cheese a combo in, because that damage just ignores the Temporal Mantle. And, you know, when you're fighting in a top tier rank 9 quest like that, Jagresses actually hit pretty damn hard. And there are a lot of them. Not to mention the Leshen hits like a truck.
Yeah, it does.
Like he hits like tempered Elder Dragon tier. He punches really, really hard. So
yeah,
I think it's a good challenge. It's one of those challenges I don't know if I'll ever get around to killing, much like Behemoth, because it's such an ordeal to fight, and it's not designed to be done by yourself, which is how I normally play, because people don't want to play with me because they're always working. Hint, hint.
I know.
But
yeah, I only had one attempt at him with using the gun lance, and okay, that was fine. I could weather his attacks, but I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you it doesn't matter what you use. He's going to kick your butt. If you're the only target in the room, you will get snowed by him, pretty much.
You're going to get punted. Horribly.
He can cover most of the fighting area with his brambles if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And he can do it from under your feet or behind you as well if he wants. So even a lot of defensive measures are not really helpful.
Yeah. And even if you do somehow manage to weather all that, you've still got to deal with the Jagras.
Yeah, the Jaggies, like, people don't take Jagras seriously, but the reality is that most people seem to have concluded what I concluded last week, which is that in that fight, flash pods are for Jagrasses. That's the point. Like, you can't do the usual is to save flash pods for when you really urgently need to sharpen, but no, you need to do this or the Jagrasses will eat you alive.
Yeah. They've even got the red eye on them, if you ever noticed too. Got that glowing red eye.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah,
I noticed that when I was laying on the ground, unable to do anything.
Well, Jagras at you.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of the scene in Jurassic Park, the book, not the movie, because this scene wasn't in the movie. It's a scene where in the book John Hammond dies.
Yeah.
And he just breaks his ankle, that's all. And then the compies come after him.
He gets the compies.
And then they just bring him down one nibble at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Jagrasses, basically.
So yeah, apparently if you do manage to beat him, you get an armor set for Ciri and her weapon. I don't see us beating it anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a serious business piece of content designed for serious business players, and I got to commend them for that. Really, that they are providing content for people who are super mediocre at the game like me, but they're also providing content for people who are super hardcore at the game to keep them entertained.
Yep.
Because even like the big YouTubers who their job is basically to play Monster Hunter at this point, even they're getting completely sodomized by this legion. So that tells you that they've pitched the difficulty nice and high, but none of them feel like it's bull. None of them feel like it's unfair, just that it's really hard. So yeah, I felt that at my tier Ancient Legion was unfair, but it wasn't unbeatably unfair. I felt that it was just its poor design to build a boss, which its predominant threat is getting cherry tapped by Jagresses. But this one, the Jagresses are a huge threat, but they're a huge threat because they distract you from the enormous monster trying to murder you.
Yes. Also, I don't think it flinches if you set it on fire either.
I haven't actually tried setting it on fire because I forgot my Igni sign.
You have an emote too, and I think you need to use both if you want to take it down. Yeah, both have cooldowns, but they seem to be separate. Although the emote also seems to have charges, which is kind of weird.
Wait.
You can only use it 50 times per quest.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
So, yeah, something else to consider.
Well, that's actually not unheard of, since the Dragoon jump that you can use from the Final Fantasy XIV event, technically speaking, can be used to avoid the insta-wipe technique.
Yep.
That Behemoth uses. It's just that almost nobody ever gets the timing down right.
Yeah. It's a very narrow window it gives you.
Anyway,
good times.
Did I do anything? It was a busy. Really had much time for there's not really much to talk about in terms of anime. It's pretty much just been an underwhelming season so far. I mean, there are some bright spots. I'm not really sure. Like I've quite enjoyed Rising of the Shield Hero, but part of my fondness of it is Schadenfreude more than anything else.
Yes.
Because I know how many people are upset at it, and not for good reason.
For a very dumb reason, in fact.
The fact that it's popular amuses me. But I watched the newest episode last night, and I laughed pretty hard at it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So it's definitely got something there that's worth watching. But generally speaking, the season is still not. There is a couple of other titles I haven't checked out yet. Might brighten it. But yeah, gonna be another one of those seasons. Not really significant of much. It seems that the third season of Index has sort of stepped up the plot a little bit, and they've moved into the World War III arc, which was something that I was sort of surprised at when I heard that it happened, because like the books, I haven't got that many of the books yet. I haven't got the books. I don't even know if they've translated far yet. But given its beginnings as a sort of magical high school story, essentially, normally those stories don't ever, a series doesn't normally stay popular long enough for that story to move beyond they are based in the high school and they have a threat, and then they'll go out and solve the threat, and then life goes back to normal. In Index, that doesn't happen. They get through that phase, and then the entire world goes to war, pretty much, and everybody ends up having to fight in this war on one side or another.
Right.
And nothing is the same ever again. that sort of thing. I presume that in the long term, the ideal is that they eventually end up going back to being magical students. But in the short term, that's not on the card. Because everybody's like, I think half the cast is currently in Russia. Scattered all over Russia.
Just because reasons at this point?
No, they're all pursuing something. They actually all have different reasons. One of them is more or less just running away. One of them is there to take somebody down, to get something, to rescue somebody else. One of them is just generally on the rampage. They all have different reasons. Then some of it being sent there to kill other ones and so on. But yeah, the plot is a total mess though. Like it's an absolute disaster piece unless you have like diligently followed the setting and the various branches of the franchise from pretty much the word go. It will be totally incomprehensible. It's one of those stories. Like it's a very, very, very toony story in that sense. That there's a humongous amount of detail and conceit in there that you need to understand the whole series in order to make any sense whatsoever. So it's incredibly inaccessible. I'm sort of curious as to whether it will do well enough to justify continue telling the story beyond this core, because it's an old show that's been revived. There must have been enough demand to revive it, but it's not accessible to new people. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing in Japan though. Maybe the original series as well, which would probably give a bit better grounding and make people more inclined to watch the new one. But yeah. Do I have anything else really to talk about? So I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. It's just been kind of a dull week, all told.
Yeah.
I've been busy. Fortunately, trying to be an adult.
That's not fun. That's never fun.
Do not want.
No.
Don't
even want to think about adulting anymore. I've done too much of it. Can I quit adulting? Is that allowed?
I don't think so.
You just become a useless societal parasite if you do that.
Is that a legal move in this game? Apparently it is, because some people do it. Those people are bad people. Leaving us to adult harder for them. And we don't get as much the payoff from our adulting because we got to pay for their not adulting. I'm not bitter.
I am.
Topical.
I'm incredibly bitter.
All of the bitter.
Yep. Alrighty.
All right. Do you want to just jump straight into your week, or shall we take a break?
We are just south of an hour. Even though I haven't been here, I don't think I have too terribly much to talk about, so we can run through it since we got an email.
All right, go for it.
All right. So, the major thing this week was it was my birthday.
Yeah.
So there were presents and some junk.
And some junk.
And some junk. I spent most of the early week working. I spent yesterday, my actual birthday, sick as a dog, also working.
Yeah, been there.
And so the first thing I kind of inserted into Fern's week was I played a bit of Kingdom Hearts 1, because I got one birthday gift a little early, and that was the Kingdom Hearts that has like the Wombo Combo Pack with absolutely everything in it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
It is a big old box of confusion.
Yeah, and that game just in general doesn't feel real good to play.
Nah. It has not aged.
Be fair,
well.
it's ancient. It's really ancient.
It's just really old.
Yeah, there we go.
And I don't remember enough of the story, even with the gay man explaining it to me, to know what the heck I'm even doing in that video game.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. Nobody remembers
if I was
the story.
jumping now. So, yeah. I tried to go through it, but at this point, I'm calling it. Kingdom Hearts 1 just ain't fun to play. I would have to hate myself to want to keep going through it. It's that badly held up. So, yeah, not doing that. What else? So, my actual birthday came around, and I got a whole lot of games I'm going to go through eventually. I got a stack of them now that have hit the top of the stack of I need to get around to play these. Eventually. And let's see, what did I get? I got the new Dragon's Quest game, well, the most recent one anyway. We got the Resi 2 remake. We got Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is what I'm going through right now. And we got pre-order for Devil May Cry.
Yes.
Somebody else paid for it, so I didn't have to actually put my money down.
Nice.
That was their birthday gift to me. They were in the car with me, like, "Oh crap, it's your birthday!" And so while I ran to the store to put the pre-order down, they're like, "Yeah, I'll just pay for it. This would be your birthday present."
Got to give the gift of Devil Trigger. Bang bang.
Somebody's got to pull mine. Ugh. Yeah. So that's pretty much been what happened. I've been going through Yakuza Kiwami 2, and that's been a lot of fun. It's very different than Yakuza Kiwami 1 or 0 in that the open world is set up as a true open world instead of a mostly true open world where buildings were still instanced, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case in this game. Every single building is a real building that you can walk into, and dudes can chase you inside. And you can totally destroy the inside of the building while they're chasing you, trying to get away from them. It is a thing that happens. So, what else? The combat is very different. The lock-on isn't quite as sticky, and it takes a lot of getting used to, and I'm still not used to it yet. So, yeah, there's a learning curve to it, but I'm having a lot of fun. It has the best side quest in all the Yakuza games so far, though. Or you meet a guy on a bridge, he's like, this really isn't going to work very well with me explaining it. You really should just go play it, because it's the delivery of the characters and the voice actors that sell it. But you meet a dude on a bridge, like, I need a model to come do stuff for something art. So you go with him. Turns out he's not the director who is going to be taking pictures of you. It's this giant, oiled-up, muscly dude with a bald head and wearing the smallest Speedo you've ever seen in your life.
Ugh.
And he shows up and convinces Kiryu to go along with this despite how stupid it is. And when Kiryu first sees him, he doesn't say anything. He tilts his head down ever so slightly, just so you would probably not notice him doing it, and just starts to walk away before the Speedo man blocks his path and makes him commit to it. It's like, okay, I've been doing this for how many years now? This is getting stupid.
He's only just now cottoning onto that.
Yeah. And he complains about it the entire game.
Dear.
So yeah, good old Kiryu.
Yakuza, really, just Yakuza.
Yeah, and there's more to that quest that I won't spoil that makes it even more over the top and ridiculous. But it involves Kiryu acting like a maid.
Oh,
he has to act as cute as possible at one point.
That's horrifying.
It is, and it's hilarious.
Does he still do it with a complete scowl on his face?
He tries to smile during it.
Ugh, I think that's even scarier.
Yeah, it's gonna be like when Fern's Final Fantasy character tried to smile.
Yeah. That was horrifying.
Oh, Kiryu Kazuma. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that game. The systems are very different. I don't have a good enough playtime with the game yet to really give a judgment on how good they are. Mm-hmm. So I'm holding off on talking about the gameplay stuff until I've put more than, half a day of playtime into it. And only the time I've been home for at that. So we'll see. We'll get there eventually. So yeah, I don't really have very much other than Devil May Cry 5 demo, which I have lost my notes for, but I'll talk about it anyway.
All right.
So I ran through it 4 times.
Only 4?
Just 4.
Yeah, I got to adult, man. I don't have time to sit there and do it over and over like I used to. But yeah, I got enough of a feel for it while I was playing it to really grasp what was going on with it. And I'm happy to report it feels like Devil May Cry.
It does.
There was no turbo mode. It may not be in at launch. It's come in patches in some of the games, so this is not unexpected, but that's okay. But even not going to turbo mode, the game feels a little bit faster at base anyway. Not a ton, not like anything that's going to break the game, but it just, you can tell it's a little bit faster. All the combos and moves have practically the same timing as DMC4. The characters are responsive, runs at what appears to be a good 60 frames a second. The boss fight's a ton of fun. He actually killed me the first time because I was messing around trying to get a high style rank instead of trying to kill the boss I didn't know the moves of.
Yeah.
And
I ran into the same problem.
So, yeah, I was able to transplant most of my skill from DMC4 straight into DMC5. I was getting S ranks on every single trash pool. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, that happens in Dino May Cry as well.
Yeah, but this is without a handicap. So...
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really pleased.
Yeah. And Nero at least is slightly less punchable now.
He has this new dude called V, who a lot of people have been probably seeing in the trailers. And a lot of people are worried about him, like he's going to be this big problem. But Nero kind of just doesn't give a crap. He's like Nero's Trish. He treats V like Dante treats Trish, where he makes a quip at him as much as he can, and doesn't care if they get too hung up in themselves. It's just like, oh, he's just weird.
I think it's perfectly reasonable for people to be worried, because look at the last few times they tried to introduce new characters.
That's true, but
yeah.
Last time they thought they could do character writing, we got Dino.
Well, that was not.
That was an abomination.
That was what the dude with the weird last name. At Team Ninja, who told the DMC fans not to buy his game if they were mad, and they didn't.
Yeah.
How about that?
Why do developers keep doing that? It's so nonsensical. Like, yeah, we absolutely need you to love us in order for us to make a living, but we're just going to treat you like peasants.
I have no idea, man.
Peasants.
Just committing suicide is what you're doing there. But yeah. In general, just been very, very pleased with the demo. A lot of worries were alleviated playing and getting my hands on it, and it feeling like we're going to get DMC4 with all the content it was supposed to have. The first time. So, yeah, a lot to look forward to with that game. I'm trying to think what to say about it, but I've lost my notes.
Well, that was clever.
Do they let you play as Dante at all?
No. You get to see very little of V, and we do... Oh, right, the other thing about V that has me not so worried about him is V's not the starring role of his character. It's the pet bird, who is constantly telling him to chill out and just relax, man. And is quipping at him the whole time.
I had a look at V's mechanics, and he does seem a very interesting character to play. He's a complete divergence from Nero and Dante.
Yeah, he the way he works is he has his special moves and his normal moves use his pets to attack. So his bird and his panther-like thing. If you play Devil May Cry 1, the really difficult cat-like shadow enemies, they're one of them is his pet, his main attack pet, and you whittle down the enemy's HP with these guys. And then once a stun bar fills up, V has to go up and deal the finishing blow himself, and he is not very fast or durable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's very unique. It looks very interesting.
Yeah. So, despite the fact that the character looks emo as all get out, I'll probably give him a try, just because he looks really unique to play.
Yeah, but from everybody that's mentioned stuff about V, it always goes back to, oh, but his bird's hilarious. It makes up for the whole thing. That's everybody's reassurance, is that bird is the funniest thing on the planet. And if it's not, I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah,
because that's what's been advertised to me.
There is another character I have warmed to thanks to this demo, and that is Crazy Redneck Chick.
Okay, so in the old Devil May Cry games, we had the Wooja Wooja statues to buy stuff with red orbs, or buy new skills, or level up, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, we have a truck.
Yes.
Or a van. And this van has the ability to just kind of appear.
Yes.
Whenever it feels like it, from wherever it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
This includes the floor above you. If you are on floor 76 of a 90th floor building, it will somehow crash down from the floor above you and be there to give you upgrades. Even though there is no way that van, through any kind of shenanigans, magical or otherwise, could be up that high.
Not with that attitude.
No. So it should just come bursting out through walls or, wherever.
That seems to be the general approach that Nico takes to that van.
Yeah. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah. And the way you summon it is even dumber. But it's also hilarious because it gives a reason why Nero has just arms laying around. There's an RP reason for it, why he can just pick up random arms everywhere. So the payphones in this city that has a tree growing roots through it still work somehow. It's completely destroyed all the concrete. There's giant walls of earth raised up that have totally demolished buildings, but the payphones still work. Okay, sure. You pick up a payphone and you call Nico and you're like, Nico, I need some upgrades. And the truck comes and it's just like from the most unlikely spot possible. It's like, okay. I guess that works.
I'm just waiting to see what happens when the inevitable womb level turns up.
Oh dear.
Yeah. There's gonna be shenanigans.
Why there was going to be a womb level, man?
Well, there's a big tree. It'll probably be a sap level this time.
Yeah.
Or an inside a tree.
It's still a weirdly meaty tree.
Inside the great Deku tree.
Yeah, we gotta go fight the Deku tree. So yeah. I'm legitimately excited for the game after getting my hands on it. I was doing my best to rein my hype in as much as I possibly could, which was...
If that was your best is not very good.
Hey, think about if it was a Fate game.
I wouldn't be trying to rein my hype.
Oh,
that seems like a silly idea.
Imagine if it was a Fate game made by Capcom.
It could go either way.
Yeah, that's what I'm dealing with here, folks. One of my two pet franchises is getting a video game after a really bad one handled by a company that for the last decade has been doing some really dumb things.
That company really had no business making DMC.
You could be describing any number of people at this point.
I suppose so, but they were the ones doing it first. We made Capcom a verb because of Capcom. It's just the rest of the games industry decided to follow them in their footsteps.
And do worse.
If we were lucky, they'll come out of that phase like Capcom did.
Somehow I doubt it, but one can dream.
I said lucky. We're not that lucky. We've never been lucky. Nobody's that lucky.
Yeah. So yeah. There was other stuff, but I don't know what the heck I did with my notes. Because I had them a week ago and I misplaced them.
Right.
So yeah, if I find them, I might cover some stuff I missed next week in the interim. And I have already signed off to take the day off immediately on DMC 5's release. So I have called in and said I have an appointment that day.
With Dr. Dino.
No, not Dr. Dino.
Not Dr. Dino. That would
Why
be a
would
very
you
bad
say
appointment.
that? What's wrong with you?
To screw with him. But no, Dr. Dante.
Yeah.
Better.
So I have been over-adulting too much anyway, so I'm shirking my responsibilities for one day. Sue me.
Checking is fine.
Yes.
Although...
that...
I do have to say, after some of these latest releases and the crying that's come out of it, taking a day off for a video game these days is a big gamble.
Nobody will know. So, except people who listen to our show, which is nobody, so nobody will know.
Excellent.
So yeah, I think that's everything. There was more stuff, but I can't remember it. So, we will call it there, I think. I should have some Yakuza to talk about next week. I'll actually be able to talk about the gameplay itself, other than giving vague descriptors of the lock-on's different. Because that's really all I got. I'm only at Chapter 3, and I've only had it for a day.
Right.
So, yeah. looking forward to playing through that. Hopefully I get a day where I'm not swamped. And the rest of the 3 weeks has just been work. Non-stop work.
Work.
This first quarter of the year has been a nightmare. Non-stop, every day, all day.
Yeah.
Just work up the butt.
No, that
All up
feel,
my
bro. Alright, we should take a break then.
Yep. So let's go to our break. Here's some music, and we'll be back in a little bit. And we're back.
Yes, indeed, with more show. More nonsense.
We have something.
We have a thing.
That we haven't seen in a very long time. And we should probably read it. Revolve should probably read it if you don't want me or Firm to mess it up.
If I can figure out how to get to the email box, I will.
I'd read it, but I'm trying to also figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with this house.
It still
Professionalism.
says loading Gmail. I just don't like handling Gmail. It's a mess.
Yeah, it is kind of clanky.
Right, here we go. It's working now, I think. So, Serathis writes, Dear No Excuses. So it has come to this. Last pieces of makeup have fallen off and Blizzard has been revealed to be a zombie, puppeteered by the Activision head crab. Step 1, record profit. Step 2, fire 800 people. The more cynical of us called it back when Blizzard was bought from Vivendi. On to more fun water. I have played my time at Portia. It's a mix of Stardew Valley with a bit of Minecraft and even Factorio. Unlike in Stardew Valley, the main focus here is on crafting. Farming is an afterthought.
Yes.
Naturally, you inherit a workshop and set out to do commissions for the townfolk. Also, you go around bribing them with stuff, playing rock, paper, scissors, and then beat them up in a fist fight because that's how you build a relationship. The art style is very much Studio Ghibli with a nature acclaims post-apocalyptic setting.
Mm-hmm.
Colourful plants, colourful enemies, and one of the villages is literally a bear. Solid recommend. On the other end of the colourful apocalypse scale is Rain World. Everything is drab, colourless, industrial wasteland. Most of the things are trying to eat you, and you eat the rest. The game is notable for going with very little hand-holding. You are directed in the direction you should be going to advance the story, but there is nothing keeping you from going in another direction. Also, you are meant to figure out the game mechanics for yourself apart from the very basics. Spears can be lodged into a wall to make a lead. Spears, some creatures really don't like it if you approach them armed. Another solid recommend. I wanted to write about Anthem and how much I despise random generated maps and roguelikes, but boring topic. At least Hollow Knight 2 got announced, so I have that going for me, which is nice. Not quite sure if there is going to be an actual Hollow Knight in that one, but who knows. Since they are going with the Gods and Glory ending, he might show up for proper this time, not just a boss. Seratha.
Well, Hornet is the Knight's air quote sibling. I think she's a step sibling.
Or something.
She might be made of Void. She could be a Void Knight. We don't know.
We don't know.
So she could be a Hollow Knight. More questions about her will be answered in the expansion. I will talk about Team Cherry and how great they are later.
Yep.
Don't worry.
We'll come back to that. So, my time in Portia. I played a bit of that in its early access days, and I've got to get back to it now that it's been actually released. But first and foremost, it's not just a bear. It's a bear in a nightgown, for some reason.
This is a very important distinction, is it?
Yes, it is. Because it's wandering around the field in this blue nightgown and fluffy slippers and a mob cap. And yet it still speaks bear. It makes about as much sense as anything else.
I see.
Yeah.
That's a lie. I don't.
You don't see it all. So, yeah, it's fun. It is sold, I suppose, as a farming sim, but yeah, farming really doesn't come into it. There's dungeon crawling, although at least at the point I played it, there was really only one boss. You'd go through the dungeon on different difficulties, which means you'd find more different rooms and different mobs in those rooms, but the boss was always the same. And that boss was dead easy, so that kind of took a lot out of it. But yeah, it's fun. It's all about making different things and flogging them off onto the various peasants around the town. There's also one other thing. It's let's not pay our voice actors. So that's a thing that happened with this game. Sadly, I think I might actually turn the voice acting off in the game because it wasn't particularly impressive anyway. I guess this is what happens when you don't pay voice actors. You get a half-assed performance.
Did they?
They didn't pay voice actors in Conker's Bad Fur Day either.
Yeah, but half-assed performances kind of just work in that game. So So yeah, I enjoyed my time at Portia. The default voice for the male character is really quite annoying. It's incredibly nasal. And honestly, the character generation, just because the art style always makes your character look very strange. Like, the people walking around town look fine, but you can never make your character look quite that good. I always end up with a bad case of
It's
potato
true
face.
for me in every game.
Yeah.
In every game with a character generator, I can't seem to make work.
Yeah, so potato face for everyone. Everyone likes potato face. So yeah, I'll give it a recommendation because there is fun to be had in there. It is, yeah, the voice acting's a bit all over the place. The character generation looks a bit weird, and the whole thing can be borderline nauseatingly twee. But yeah, it's still a good time. All right, what else we got in this email? Blizzard. We've got a news article about Blizzard. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh,
I lost the email. The
You
window
lost the
went
email?
away. Come back.
Don't lose the email.
Come back. There it goes.
Good.
It's back now.
Rain World. I believe I've seen that one. Was that the one with the weird shaggy monster as the protagonist? No, it wasn't.
so you don't know it then?
No, I don't. You seem to be playing as a albino slug. That's a thing.
Well, that's not what I expected.
Yeah, slug ferret thing. I don't know.
It's like,
Yeah, it's interesting. It is very bleak, but it's a very stylized platformer where you play as a slug ferret thing. I might check that out at some point. Yeah, that can go on the wish list. Boop. Yeah, it looks fun. And very, very stylized. What else? I think that's about it for now. I'll actually probably talk about Rain World when I eventually play it. Alright.
Yep. I don't have anything to say on Anthem. I didn't even know it was roguelike. TBH.
Yeah. But it looks fun. Alright. So thank you very much for the email, Serathus. We're going to attack some of your other topics in a little bit more detail.
Yep.
Who's first on the chopping block then?
Well, since we just did Serathus's email, I guess I can give my obligatory sexual favors to Team Cherry.
Alright.
why do you have to say it?
You got to phrase
Because-
it in the worst possible way.
Because it's not entirely untrue, and they honestly deserve it.
Go for it.
These guys. So, because Team Cherry exists in this world, no other company in the video game industry, at all, any of them, have any reason for any faults in launching a game, any quirk of game design, and especially not anything going wrong in the development process. These guys, like, oh, we had to delay our stretch goal for Hornet, and that was the one thing everybody was holding over their head. Why were they delaying it? Oh, we were just building you an entire new game that's even bigger than the first one. And it'll be in a year and a half again, this time with just funding we made from the game we made the first time. That we made, with less than $100,000, or around $100,000, I think.
Mhm.
And I made it in a year and a half. I don't care what people in the AAA industry say anymore, because they can't beat two dudes in Australia who hire their musician buddy and know how to outsource things and micromanage that outsourcing so well they can crank a game out like this.
A game that was originally going to be an expansion.
Yeah. Like, it blows my mind that Team Cherry can just do this. And they can just consistently put out a good product like that. I'm happy they can, but man, just they're just so good. They make a video game. They make a good video game, and they don't take all of your money or gimp you with microtransactions. They give you free content. All the DLC for Hollow Knight was free. All of it.
It was. So
The game was huge. Easily a 40-hour experience if you take time to explore the whole map. And they did it all by themselves in a year and a half. With less than $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're doing it again. I can't not be hyped for this game. It is literally impossible.
Could just be a little
I'm
bit
very
less
excited.
vulgar about it.
I'm just so proud of Team Cherry and what they've done. Because they've shown us that we were right. People in the gaming industry are just bad at their job. Because two dudes and their musician buddy can make a game that is just as high quality or better quality than they make in half the time with less than a tenth of the budget.
I'm inclined to think that, based on what we've seen, that the issue is that most of the effort that goes into making video games, if we characterize effort in terms of money, from the AAA studios, goes into the bureaucracy that supports the developer and not into the game itself. I think that the problem is actually it's not that the game is expensive, it's not that the game takes a lot of manpower, it's not that the game takes a lot of sort of material to do, or that the tech is outpacing it or anything like that. I think that it is predominantly, the problem is simply that most of the effort going into that game is wasted. It just goes to things that have nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
It's just...
I mean, like, when you've only got two guys and the guy they know who can play a musical instrument, there's no reason to waste anything. Like, everything that you know, everything you've got that you need to spend money on, like, you're immediately accountable to the only person who matters, because there's only three of you, and there's no secretary to pay. There's no venue for the money to inadvertently bleed out somewhere. It's all coming straight down to, well, we've got this budget and we need a thing for the game, so we'll buy that thing for the game. You don't need to pay the guy who pays the guy who pays the guy who goes get the game.
Yeah. Well, look at any Ubisoft game, really, and look at their credit sequence. You've got people, the coders, the testers, and then you've got maybe 3 times in that of bureaucrats and caterers and peasant wranglers, and you name it. It's all in there.
Yeah, people hired because the company wants to look better, or hired to just have a job and sit around and do nothing.
Now, see, this is where this comes into the Blizzard thing. Like, they're firing 800 people, but the thing that I do sympathize with people who had a job and now they don't have a job, and they've probably been stranded in one of the most expensive places in the world by Blizzard, because, you know, that's where Blizzard is. Now they don't have a plan. Yeah, there's a human element there. I understand that. Due sympathy, and only due sympathy. But the reality is that company is probably full to the brim with bloat. Now, it is a entirely fair and reasonable criticism to say, well, Bobby Kotick didn't do an Iwata and cut his own salary so that they could stabilize the financials of the business. But the reality is that he didn't need to. The problem with Blizzard was not that they were running out of money. The problem is they are unbelievably bloated. And the way that this probably shakes down in the end is that somebody would have told the managers who told their manager, who told their sub-managers, who told their sub-managers to cut the dead wood, the people who really don't bring into the business their salary's worth of money. And they probably did, because there's a huge number of people who are basically like, you know, esports organizers and stuff. And, you know, I understand that one of Blizzard's core problems is that they have got, you know, power mania and don't listen to the community, but they also have like a gajillion community managers on staff, and they don't need a billion community managers, especially if they aren't listening to them to begin with. Like, we talk about, the community manager at a company, but there is no the community manager at Blizzard. Everybody in there who doesn't have an actual job to do as a community manager. So yeah, when you get to companies of that size, you get a humongous amount of bloat, and we've seen that Blizzard is incapable of turning anything around quickly because it has to pass through an enormous chain of bureaucrats. I expect that that's half the reason why they move in such a glacial pace. Like, one half of the reason is pride. They don't want to back down on their previous decision. The other half of the reason is that if they actually wanted to change something, it would have to go through a 6-month process of getting forms signed off before it happened. And nobody can be bothered at that point. So yeah, I think that this is where a lot of these layoffs are coming from, is that they realize that they could be making bigger profits if only they weren't paying people who don't bring in profits. I'm not saying that's the case for all of these people, and Blizzard is a very very, very cynical company. They are like they know that people work for them because they wanted to work for Blizzard when they were kids. And that if a person thinks it's their dream job, you can abuse the crap out of them without them leaving. I expect that is very much the case. But yeah, they're not actually beholden to anybody to actually keep staff they don't want to keep. If they think that they should be cutting staff, then they'll cut staff. But this is just, the world of an overly bloated developer. The Team Cherry people, they don't have to worry about any of this crap. All of the effort that they put into making their game goes into making that game. They don't have to get anybody's approval but their own in order to make it, and they've got the talent to make a good product. And this was true for all of the big developers back when they were not big developers. Like, Blizzard was once composed of the people with the talent and the passion, and they made great games with small teams in a comparatively short amount of time. The amount of output you get for the number of people and the number of dollars in something like World of Warcraft is trivial. Like, the only amount of development that really happened that was significant in the new WoW expansion was their art. Like, they had new art, and that was all. That's really all the development that has happened between Legion and Battle for Azeroth. There's new art.
Yeah.
Most of their other systems have got trivial amounts of development in them for the sheer quantity of money that was thrown at creating. Because I think a lot of that money just goes down running.
Yeah. It's just going to things that don't add anything to the game.
Yeah, so I don't know. A lot of people have speculated that there's some sweet spot where you can get technological fancy games at sort of like the single A or double A level, but actually getting to the point of being a AAA developer is basically declaring yourself moribund as a developer. Like, you might still produce some hits, but you're destined for death so long as you're at that size, because you're too big to go on succeeding.
Yeah.
Yep. Just Team Cherry, please keep doing what you're doing. Pretty please. I love you guys.
The real issue will be if they sell out, like, because they might just sell up. It's entirely reasonable because they'd be offered $1 billion to do it, and you'd be mad not to take that money if you've got responsibilities to fill. Like, you've got a family to support, kids to put through college or whatever. It would be irresponsible for you not to take it. If they don't, and this is entirely their passion project that they're going to follow for their career through a lifetime, then don't sell out. Because if you sell out, if you let someone like EA buy you, you will still have 2 people's worth of development power, but 200 people worth of bureaucrats to pay.
Yeah. They just make me happy when I see them. And I just love that they remind us that small teams do just fine. It's the talent that matters, not the size of your staff. Because if Team Cherry didn't exist, I could maybe hum and haw about an argument on the other side. But in a world where Team Cherry exists, I don't have to. Because Team Cherry exists and proves my point.
Yeah, you can make good products with very small teams.
Yep. So yeah, I'm really hyped for that game. Can't wait to play it. I love Hollow Knight to death. It was one of my favorite, if not my favorite game the year it came out. So yeah, more Hollow Knight is always awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. What's our next piece of news?
Let's see. What do we have?
We'll come back to Nintendo Direct because there's a lot to go through there.
Well, Paul's might have stuff to say about the Final Fantasy 14 one, so do you want to save that one for last?
I don't have much to say about it
Yeah, hit that one now.
because I think that it's just dumb, like in the simple sense of it's a dumb thing to have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go find the actual code of conduct thing. So basically, there was an update to the moderating standard, the community standards for Final Fantasy XIV, and this sounds like one of those things that it was not motivated by need. It was motivated by some person with an agenda who convinced them that there was a need to do it, and just conveniently happened to have a list of things ready that they wanted done.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're adding a whole bunch of rules, we'll say, for things that you can't do online on pain of penalty to your account. So most of these are the usual sorts of stuff, like you can't use racist aphorisms and euphemisms. You can't do the same towards you can't do that towards countries, nationalities, sexualities, whatever, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. You can't stalk people. You can't out their real world information, that sort of thing.
The usual stuff.
As you go down the list, it gets a bit janky. So you go down to the category of things that are offensive expressions that are classed as offensive and therefore liable for censorship and control and punishment. So this starts out by saying things like violent language, slanders and threats and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as you go down, it gets a little bit more janky, and it's like expressions that provoke or belittle a person, excessive criticism,
What?
that lack consideration for another person, that reject another person's opinion.
Oh dear.
So you see where we're at now. You rejecting somebody's opinion is considered to be offensive, and you are liable for punishment because you didn't accept their worldview as unilaterally declared by them to be true.
Yeah.
It's like, in some of the ways it's written from, I can't find the actual list, but there was one piece that sounded like if you weren't following somebody around singing Smash Mouth All-Star to them and praising them nonstop, like it could be interpreted as not caring about them or not liking their opinions in some way.
When you put wording that vague into a code of conduct, you could be, in fact, banned for not really following them around singing All-Star if that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is that there's also other things that have more bigger impact on the play of the game as well. Like, it's offensive to express something to someone that is an attempt to compel them to play in a certain way. So basically, you can't say that anybody's bad, ever.
That means you can't even make any suggestions like, hey, have you tried doing this?
You can't make no constructive criticism is allowed if they might be inclined to take offense to it. Like you could in the best of intentions give somebody very good advice on how to improve both their quality of play and their experience. But if they are in a scrotty mood, they could report you and you could get banned.
Yeah.
That's the long and short of this, is that you can this has been structured in order to make anything a justification for being banned. Anything. That I'm entirely convinced that was the final objective of the person who masterminded this, and I really do think that this is like a person or a very small number of people managed to get in charge of this project with the objective of leaving themselves a loophole to enforce what they want, however they want.
Yeah.
So, as such, what I expect to come out of this is minimal actual enforcement on this stuff, except from a handful of people. The handful of people who are totally on board with absolute speech control, with basically social justice warriors, generally speaking. They're the only people who in the modern world who are that interested in this sort of thing. Well, that and radical Islamists, but generally speaking, it's only those people. I expect that there will be a handful of people who will relentlessly abuse these rules to get rid of people that they think are bad elements, and that will probably eventually provoke a backlash, and then somebody who actually has authority will look at what these rules actually are and what they're clearly designed to do, and they will probably get revamped again. They will, at the very least, most likely get reworded in the future.
Yeah, sooner or later there's going to be a complaint that gets escalated to Square Enix Japan.
Yeah, usually what happens is that they'll stay under the radar, just picking on people for a while, and then they, having gotten a taste of that power, they'll go bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually they'll create a problem, and then, the hammer of Square Enix Japan will come down on their face.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They'll be told to change these rules on pain of pain.
Then they will go and screech on Twitter about how they were fired by a misogynist. Please come to my Patreon and give me free money. That's most likely going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a dangerous and categorically bad development, because the reality is this doesn't ban anything that you couldn't get banned for before, except for things that you shouldn't be banned for. That's the big.
Yeah. I'd like to actually be able to log into the game now and just have a whole bunch of people running around shouting, "I disagree."
Yeah, I've just gotten the feeling these days, though, that code of conduct is basically a warning flag. Anytime anybody brings in a new code of conduct or a revamped code of conduct or anything like that, code of conduct basically seems to be SJW wish lists now. Things they want to be able to hurt people for. Because, I mean, all the companies are doing this now, right? Like Blizzard banning people for stuff that you don't do in their games, but they heard that you did.
Yeah.
It contravenes their rules. And I've heard rumors that they have banned people for only playing characters that are white as well.
What?
It's something that I've heard. I haven't investigated the story, but it's a story that's been circulating for a while now.
Probably just as well. Bulk of my characters are blue.
Yeah. At any rate, this is pretty common, and it's especially from what I've heard common in the open source development community. Because they've got codes of conduct and so on and so forth for things that you can that you should and should not do when interacting with other people and working on their projects and whatnot. And several of the communities have been crippled by codes of conduct being introduced, which are basically managed by militant social justice warriors.
Oh yeah.
So actual coding just grinds to a halt because you can't develop a project, because if there's a female coder, all of their changes stand and you're unallowed to criticize them because that's misogyny.
Yeah.
There are a lot of open source projects have been killed dead by codes of conduct.
Well, Linux is probably the biggest high profile of one. There's people actively taking their code out of Linux now. So yeah, have fun with that. Can we just not do this anymore?
Yeah, well, we'd have fun with it, but we can't because it's a code of conduct. They say we can't.
Yeah. I love those thought police.
THOT police.
Yes. Alright, so yeah,
not untrue.
That's dumb, but I don't expect this to last. I expect once the first big profile banning comes down and everyone starts kicking up a fuss over it, yeah, Square Enix Japan will come down and reverse it, and with any luck, sack those responsible. It's a shame. I love Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV is great.
Yeah, I think that for most people's purposes, all of these rules will be things that they can safely ignore because nobody is interested in actually going to the effort required to moderate by these rules. The problem is that these rules are designed to allow people within their community team to get people they hate.
Yeah.
This is not aimed at the community in general. This is aimed at them having the power to hurt whoever they want.
It's also, for those people who do abuse this system, it's going to clog up the system for people who actually do need it as well. So when genuine harassment does come up, the community team is going to be too busy dealing with these frivolous complaints in order to deal with that. So, yeah, we'll see. Anywho, shall we talk about something hopefully a little bit happy?
At least neutral, I think.
Well, I'll take neutral. Neutral is still a step up from our usual.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, Nintendo did a thing.
They did do a thing.
Let me just...
It was certainly a thing.
It was most
that
indeed
I had on
a
the
thing.
background and did not care about very much stuff that was announced.
Yep. Alright, so... I'll go down the list because they actually announced quite a lot of stuff that they're going to be releasing over the next year. First and foremost, of course, being Super Mario Maker 2, which people have been asking for, apparently. It's Super Mario Maker, except more of it. And now with Luigi.
People like it.
I liked it.
It was popular.
It was okay.
It was a fun toy for, like, half of a weekend.
Yeah.
That's about as far as I got with it.
You can only see so many don't touch anything challenges before it gets boring.
Yeah, the online for it got creatively bankrupt real quick, like.
Really quick. Like, there were some really good levels to find in there, but yeah, had to dig. You had to dig a lot.
Yeah. You like, go, the randomize, it'll pick random levels that have a certain clear rate on them and give you harder ones the harder difficulty you pick and the better you're doing. That's a great idea and concept, guys. But
it needs a better filter on it.
Let me tell you, there's only so many times I care to go through an instant death trap Kaizo Mario level before I just don't care anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that gets old. So, yeah, they've added a whole bunch of new options you can build. I believe you can play in there as Luigi if you really want to. You can play as Cat Mario if you so choose. So, yeah, have fun.
Yep. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was a game I thought already was out, I guess not on the Switch.
Not on the Switch.
Okay.
Which is funny considering Multiple Alliance 1 and 2 have vanished from sale everywhere else. Again.
Yeah.
Herp-de-derp, licensing de derp. So, hey, they've got X-Men. That's a step up.
That is true.
Though,
although I imagine we'll be seeing the X-Men a lot more now that Disney is on non-Fox.
Yes.
That was the only reason there were no X-Men. So I would imagine everybody will be sick of them fairly shortly.
Oh, yeah. In before Stan Lee cameos are replaced with Deadpool cameos, by the way. It's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. It will be funny a few times. And then that's it.
Oh, right. He died. He died for real this time. There were so many false reports about it. Like every year, there was at least one. I just kind of forgot that he actually died this time.
He actually died this time, yes. So this game, it looks okay. It actually kind of smacks a little bit of mobile game, if I'm not to be perfectly honest.
I think it is a mobile game. I think I downloaded it on my phone. One of them.
There's that. There's all these different Marvel games on the mobile.
Yeah, it might
it's
have been
hard to
another
keep
one.
track. Yeah. Some are good. Some are less than good.
Most are less than good. Most are quite a bit less than good.
Yes, very less than good. But this one looks okay. I need to see a bit more of it, I think.
Yes.
All right, we got our first look at Joker's Smash Brothers model. He looks like Joker. What's more to say, really? They haven't made a mess of it.
Yep.
They had better not. It's not easy to. It's not hard to get that right when
No.
you've got somebody working with you to supply you all of the meshes and everything that you need.
If they got that wrong, you can imagine the just all of it.
I would be the champion of that re-hill.
Yeah.
Screaming at them.
So much
I
All
would
of the
bring the re. I would bring all of it. Just as much as I brought when I had to deal with Dino.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the mention in there. Next, we've got
It's Captain Toad again. But
Captain
this time on
Toad
the console
again.
that actually sold.
With multiplayer.
Yeah. So following the trend of Wii U games getting a few new bells and whistles and moving to the console that actually has market penetration.
Those people actually might be able to play this one.
Yay! I don't know. I've never really disliked Captain Toad. It looks like it's a neat chill-out title. Until you inevitably hit that puzzle that just does not solve for you. You cannot figure it out.
Re.
Bring on all
Video game.
maximum re.
Yeah.
On the subject of puzzle games, Box Boy and Box Girl is a very strange game. So I played the original Box Boy, and it was very short. That game, very short, but it was a neat little puzzle game. You're a box who can extend out other boxes and then use those to latch onto platforms or build stairs and things like that to navigate your way through a level. So this one is just more of that, except now you've got new characters with different abilities or different shaped boxes. So yeah, it was cute, kind of charming, just very, very short, and which I suppose it being short worked in its favour. So it just didn't outstay its welcome. Next is a game that Ari probably wants to talk about. It's Castlevania, except totally not.
Yeah, Bloodstained's coming to Switch. The Wii U port got canceled because the Wii U's dead, and they made a Switch port instead.
Yes.
We knew it was coming.
I've been sort of impressed at how little people remember the Wii U now. Like it's like it never existed to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Wii U, but geez, did they make some bad decisions with it.
I didn't. I thought it was a fat load of garbage.
It was okay, but yeah, bad decisions everywhere.
I was pretty open about thinking it was a fat load of garbage.
Yeah, you were.
And I wasn't alone in that. So yeah, Bloodstained had a Wii U version. Ega already confirmed the Switch version. This isn't an announcement. I don't even know why it's in the Direct.
We got a snazzy new trailer for it.
Yep, no new gameplay. All footage we've seen before.
Yep. So yeah, it's Castlevania, except totally not.
Yep. Hope it's good. I need to go 3 for 3 on the Kickstarters. I actually backed being good.
Yeah.
Don't mess it up, Ega, please.
It looks good. It looks very good. At least from the trailers, but trailers lie.
The little NES game they released as part of their Kickstarter stretch goals was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just more of that, and we'll be golden.
All right. We have Dragon Quest XI again. So
I got that for my birthday.
Dragon Quest XI Echoes of Elusive Age Definitive Edition. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got a bunch of new quests and other bits and pieces in there.
Yeah. Following the Switch's other trend of taking the popular games the thing can actually run and porting them to it.
Yeah. Where's my Wonderful 101? I want to play that game again.
You don't want.
I do. I think I do, but I don't. No, wait. This is Nintendo we're dealing with, not Blizzard.
No, Nintendo's still using dial-up internet.
Yeah.
They don't know. They'll get to the you think you do, but you don't stage. They're just not there yet.
At least they're still treating their customers with some semblance of respect.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Well,
I think that they're just better at keeping their disrespect under wraps.
well, same thing.
They're snooty Japanese businessmen, dude.
Yeah.
They close up their doors and don't let any of their internal workings get out if they can stop them.
They seriously do. They really crack down on that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might pick up Dragon Quest XI eventually. I mean, we need to get into the Dragon Quest series eventually, but every time I think I'm about to, there comes a new one, and they never drop the price of them either.
Yeah. Somebody got it for me for my birthday. I forget who. It was on the discount shelf at GameStop, apparently.
Yep. So yeah,
And they'd heard it was good.
the classic RPG where everybody has one of three faces. Toriyama.
That's what happens when you let Toriyama do the character design. He
Yeah.
doesn't really design, he just copy pastes.
He doesn't need to design anymore. He's done it all.
I'm pretty sure he did it all in the first 20 minutes of his career.
Yeah. So yeah, Dragon Quest XI, it's just Dragon Quest with a bit more on it. There's also a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders, which is Dragon Quest flavored Minecraft. Although it does apparently have a story mode in it. So that's a step up. Alright, what was next?
Next was a Disney thing, the Starlink thing, and the Rune Factory stuff that I don't have anything to say about. I basically don't have anything to say about anything from Disney to Yoshi.
The Disney thing, Tsum Tsum Festival, what is exactly this? Is this a thing in Japan? Because these look like little beanie hamster things that you'd get out of a gacha machine, just with Disney characters designs. I'm guessing that's what it is.
I tuned this part out, dude.
Yeah.
It's modern Disney, and immediately they lost me.
Yeah, it honestly looked like 10 gallons of crap, so let's ignore that one. Next was more content for Starlink. So it's Starlink, except now you can play as Slippy Toad. Enjoy.
Why? Are there people that like Slippy Toad?
There must be someone. Like, okay, yeah, you can play as Falco and Peppy as well, but they're fine. Slippy is not. Slippy sucks. Nobody likes Slippy. At all. And because it's, Starlink, it's probably going to be a ridiculous cost for those sets as well.
Well, it's not like the people that play it pay for it.
Yeah, their mothers do. It looks like it could be a decent game, and it's actually a decent Star Fox game, unlike the last one. But
You seem bitter, Fern.
A little bit. The last good Star Fox game I played was Lilac Wars.
Don't worry, Fern. I'm bitter with you.
Yeah. Although Star Fox Adventure had its moments.
But that was Rare.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Rare.
That was Rare's, dying scream as they were being eaten by the Microsoft monster.
Nom 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 nom. Oh, boy. Oh, well, I miss Old Rare. Old Rare was so good.
Yeah. But they did now.
Yeah, they did. We've got Rune Factory 4, which is a classic JRPG. Nothing to see here. Moving on.
And eventually we get to Fire Emblem's Three Houses. And honestly, they didn't give us a whole lot of information on it.
No.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Kind of worrying reason for that. Apparently, the game has had some development troubles. So it is being delayed.
Again.
Yeah.
So
what this means in relevance to you guys is this is now two major IPs that have had a big delay and were selling points. The Switch for quite a few people, myself included, get super delayed.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no idea what's going on with them.
Yeah. So you got a new trailer, and they unveiled a bit of stuff. But then right at the end of it, just as they're finishing talking about the case of, oh, by the way, it's delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there had been this confirms a few what were rumors until the direct almost admitted it, that were going around that there was some trouble. We don't know what that trouble was, but something's happened at the Three Houses dev team. And after the disaster that was Fire Emblem Fates, and although it sold well, it made a lot of people angry.
Yeah.
The absolute sabotage of the localization probably didn't help.
Yeah, no.
Certainly
The
did
fact
not.
that you had to find ways to creatively pseudo cheat because they didn't put the stupid swimsuits in the game, which you need for stats to beat the super duper hard mode.
But that's objectification.
Yeah. Didn't they leave
They
waifu
can
mode in there though? Or was that in Fire
kind
Emblem?
of. You can just pet their head. That's all you can do. Oh no, they did take it out all the way. That's right. I remember now.
Yeah. Waifu mode being, another way to build up bond, if I recall. You kind of need that.
I think they had a nerfed version of it where you could, it would fade into their screen, and then the screen would fade to white, and there'd be a wooja wooja magic sound in the background, and then everything was normal.
Right. So it's completely and utterly pointless at that point.
Yes.
Can we stop this, please? Just stop.
No.
Even if waifu mode was weird and creepy, it was still there. It was still part of the game.
Yep. I'm having Nom flashbacks here, Fern. Can we move on?
Okay, move on. Pick something else.
All right. So, Tetris 99, this one's all you.
I played some of this. It's exactly what it looked like on the trailer. It's Tetris Battle Royale. So you're playing a game of Tetris, and there's 99 other people playing Tetris alongside you, and the last one to tap out wins. That's it.
Finding creative ways in Tetris to screw over your friends.
So
Sounds like a
you
gay
can
old time.
Yeah. So you know how if you're playing two-player Tetris, you've got that whole get a combo and completely screw them over by dumping a whole bunch of extra rubbish onto their board. Try doing that with 4 or 5 or 10 other players all targeting you.
This does not sound like a fun time, Fern.
Oh, no.
This
Yeah,
sounds
I mean,
like the
Tetris
opposite
is a
of
pretty
fun time.
lukewarm time to begin with.
It is. It's something you
Adding
can...
other people doesn't really improve things.
So you can have a good run where I've had a good run. I haven't actually won a match, but I've gotten onto the top 5 in a few runs. And things get really intense at that point because by that point it's Tetris and it's going really fast. But I've also had games where I've started and I've bowed out in the first 5 people because of the arbitrary nature of the targeting. I've been hit by 4 or 5 people, not doing combos, just by clearing 1 or 2 lines. And that filled up my entire board in one go. Those aren't fun.
Yeah, maybe they could use some throttling in there.
Yeah, like if you can deliberately choose who you target if you want, or you can set it to retaliate to people who are targeting you, so you can load up multiple people's boards with crap. You can just set it to attack random people, or you can set it to attack people with badges. I have no idea what that one was about. It seemed to be like random type 2. So, yeah, there's just nothing stopping the game from allowing a whole bunch of people just to pile onto one person and really ruin their day. So yeah, it's a fun way to kill, half an hour. And that's about it.
Yep, that's what it seemed like.
Yep. Alright, next we've got a port of Dead by Daylight. We've got a port of Senua's... what was it called? Senua's Sacrifice?
Yeah, the one that shouldn't have won Best Voice Acting.
The most overhyped game by conventional media outlets.
Yeah.
I'd not heard of it, And in fact, I still haven't heard of it if I discount people from mainstream outlets reporting on it.
Mm.
Like it's like I don't know what the game is about even, just that it must be unbelievably mainstream because only mainstream reported on it. Nobody else was interested.
Morning Viking warrior woman goes to the underworld because of reasons.
Yeah, but what's the game?
Platformy Dishonored type dealy. I haven't actually played it. I might eventually, but
It reminded me of the God of Wars whenever I see footage of it.
Does a little bit.
But there's like some kind of sanity mechanic that persists through playthroughs and deaths
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Which is a bit... Sanity mechanics are always annoying.
Yes, they are. Unless they're in Eternal Darkness, then they're hilarious.
Well, yeah, okay. Except for that one.
Yep.
There was... what else we got? We're just going to keep banging on through these. We had a trailer for Deltarune, which came directly from the Andrew Hussey School of Trolling.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. He's not even funny with his trolling like Kodaka is with Dupaloopa. He just puts stuff out that you know is a lie.
Yeah, that's the Andrew Hussey School. Everything is a lie.
Yeah, at least like people like Kodaka make it fun, trying to figure out what parts of it are truth, because he hides truth in everything. But he makes it so you can figure it out. Hussey just lies to you.
Yeah, he just outright lies.
Yeah, but he always tells the lies that people want to hear. That's the thing.
He does. He does indeed.
That's the only caveat is that people get even more unhappy when he tells the truth.
Yeah, because whatever he actually eventually puts out is an enormous troll. So, in this case, the trailer for Deltarune, except don't bother seeing anything, it's covered in dogs. The little yappy dog out of Undertale reappears again, and it's just... everything is censored with dogs.
Yep.
So,
I'm not even convinced this is an actual game that's coming out. I think it's just a PR move while he figures out what he's doing.
You honestly can't rule that out. That is entirely within the normal scope of there.
Yeah.
Who is actually making this?
Toby and
Fox.
I think he's doing it solo.
But he's just a musician.
Yeah, well, he made Undertale.
Yeah, he made Undertale, but I expect he had pinch hitters on there. What I'm saying really here is that there are no strong guarantees that it's going to be, to the same standard even.
Well, here's a giant red flag for you. It's episodic.
Yeah, it's going to suck balls.
What was the last decent episodic game we ever played? Like maybe Wolf Among Us?
Tales of the Borderlands?
Tales of the Borderlands before or after?
I think it was after.
Like, there are a lot of aspects of Borderlands humor that I'm not particularly amused by, but there were some really solid... Yeah, among other things. There's some really solid laughs in Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh yeah, it just had really good writing start to finish.
Even when it was doing like Family Guy level absurdism, it was still better than Family Guy.
Well,
like the finger pistol scene, for instance.
Bro, when they're flying through the air.
The bro off.
Yeah.
It's because it didn't do it constantly like Family Guy does. So when those random events did pop up, they had all the impact.
And Loaderbot. Loaderbot was a thing.
Loaderbot was a boss. So, yeah. It's a shame we're not going to get another one of those.
Yeah, well.
Alright, let me see. We've got Grid Autosport. Moving on. We got a small confirmation that Bayonetta 3 is in the works.
We knew that already.
We already knew that.
Would it be kind of strange if it wasn't, to be honest?
Yeah.
They had a trailer at E3, I'm pretty sure. They had a teaser.
Yeah, I think it was just a title drop. Wasn't much.
It had a short thing. It showed one of the characters being cut in half. I think Bayonetta got cut in half during it or something.
Oh, she'll get better.
Yeah, so it was a teaser. It was a proper teaser. But yeah, we already knew that.
Yeah, so we knew that. We did, however, get Mortal Kombat 11.
Do people like Mortal Kombat? Is that a thing?
There is. Mortal Kombat seems to be one of those series you just really grow out of.
Well, it seems to come and its overall popularity seems to come and go. Like, it seems to go for a few episodes without anybody even noticing it exists.
You want me to kill Mortal Kombat for you forever? It's Sonic Fox's main game.
Oh, well, no, I already knew that he was.
It was already dead.
Mortal Kombat first. Like, there's no surprises.
I'm just letting it sink in for people that didn't know.
Sonic Fox. Just why?
If you ever think the Game Awards are a thing you can take seriously, just remember Sonic Fox. Never forget.
Just.
To be fair, it's not like the Video Game Awards knew he was going to do that.
No, they didn't. So it's not really their fault.
I mean, their sins are manifold. Yes.
Yes.
But that particular one is not their sin.
You need that giant cartoony coat hook in that situation.
Yeah, this is like you pull the cane out and you rip him off the stage. His little furry hat flies up in the air and lands on the stage. That's all that's left.
Classic cartoons.
Oh,
we're ruined too. Why is everything ruined? Stop ruining everything.
Because
nobody's got any imagination. They've got to go back and work over the old stuff. They can't make their own new terrible stuff.
Well, yes.
And even when they try, it's always a rip-off of something else.
Yeah.
No joke. Like, most of what I got as video games for my birthday was remakes.
Yeah.
Because remakes is mostly what they are. It's like we were talking about with Disney earlier, right? They're making, they made live-action Beauty and the Beast. They're making live-action Aladdin. How many other live-actions are they planning to make exactly?
I don't know.
They're making a live-action Lion King, aren't they? Wasn't that a thing?
That was
a 3D CG one or something. I don't remember.
The cast, it has the worst cast list in the world. You should go remind yourself why it's so terrible at some point and get really angry. John Oliver's in there as Zazu.
Oh right, yes.
Oh right.
He's your favorite person, Bolasel.
Let's see.
I don't hate him especially more than most other people who are like him. I think I dislike his fans more than I dislike him.
Let's see.
Because
here we go.
Every person I've met who's a serious John Oliver fan thinks that them being a John Oliver fan is evidence that they're an intellectual.
Get the same thing with Rick and Morty fans also.
Yeah.
So here we go. Live action Lion King. Donald Glover as adult Simba. J.D. McCrary as young Simba. Beyonce as Nala.
This is just going to be a cast roll of Ball's favorite people in the world.
Why don't they ever employ voice actors?
Because Crispin Freeman's old paycheck was too much. The peanuts it cost before he got hired by Blizzard.
Yep. Here's at least one we can agree with. James Earl Jones as Mufasa. He's got the voice.
Oh, it's okay.
I have no idea how to pronounce that name as Scar. Chiwetel Ejiofor. Something Scandinavian, either way.
Yeah.
Who's that?
I have no idea. Alfra Woodward as Sabari. She had a bit part at best in the first movie. Yeah, John Oliver as Zazu. John Caney as Rafiki. Billy Eichner as Timon. Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. And no Whoopi Goldberg as a hyena. I am disappointed.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't have the voice for it anymore anyway.
She sounds exactly the same. She's turned up in a new movie trailer, actually. I swear she just doesn't age. She's one of those people. She kind of hit a point and just stopped. So yeah, that looks like it's going to be an abomination. When did that come out? It's coming out in July.
Yep.
Now, live action Aladdin.
I almost want to see this one just for the Will Smith genie.
Why though? Just why? Don't.
It's one of those things. It's like,
well, you absolutely need the Fresh Prince of Arabia in your life.
when you see a train wreck this bad, You can't take your eyes off it.
I think we just hit Will Smith as Genie, and everything just kind of stops after that. Like, a lot of the rest of the cast is Middle Eastern, which is, true to the theme, which is good.
No, I don't think it's especially good. I don't care so long as they can do the characters. I
Well,
don't care
yeah.
what part of the world they're from.
Yeah. Actually, most of these people I haven't even heard of, so...
The thing is, I don't know if the Fresh Prince can actually do Genie.
I don't know if he can. Definitely not Robin Williams level, but...
I don't expect Robin Williams from him, though.
No.
I expect the character to be similar, though, and I can't even imagine it. Because Will Smith plays the same character in everything that he's in.
Yes,
He's
does.
He's one of those actors who always plays himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If Will Smith had variety and could actually, diversify his performances, I could see them using him as Genie because the speed and delivery of his comedy has the same ballpark tone as Robin Williams did.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different, but it goes at the same pace. And I could get the casting, but he doesn't ever vary performances. He's just a Fresh Prince in everything he does.
I think that I would take it in a slightly different direction and say that I think he would make a fine Genie in an Aladdin movie. I just don't think that movie needs to be Disney's Aladdin remade with live actors.
Yeah.
Well, I think that he could be Genie, but he wouldn't be that Genie. And there's not really any good reason for him to be that Genie, which is not really his fault. It's Disney's fault for wanting to make Aladdin again.
Yeah.
And that's really the issue here. It's that they're trying to do Aladdin again and have it be as much of a hit this time around as it was last time.
Yeah. We can blame Will Smith for plenty of things, like Wild Wild West. But, yeah, not this one.
I kind of like Wild Wild West. I feel like it's nice and schlocky.
I have to admit, it is a bit of a guilty pleasure, but it is not a good movie.
Well, I'm not saying that it's a good movie. I think that in every respect, Wild Wild West is like an inferior version of Shanghai Noon.
Yep.
But like in every respect. But I think that it doesn't actually fall short of what it's trying to do, which is to be incredibly dopey.
Well, it definitely hits that mark.
Because it's supposed to be even a shade more ridiculous than Men in Black was.
Mm-hmm.
And in that respect, it really is, to be honest.
Yeah, it succeeds at that. Oh, boy. That movie just got really very strange. It's one of those schlock films. It's not good, but you'll watch it anyway.
Yeah, like if it's on television, I won't change the channel.
Yeah. Honestly, anything that Will Smith has been in that he's tried to be serious in, though, I will. Except Hancock. Hancock I kind of like. Again, because it's schlock.
I was about to mention Hancock as one of the times he did pretty bad, but...
Yeah, I think I didn't feel like he was a good fit somehow. Yeah. Well, I think that he did as good as he could have. Mm-hmm. I think that with a better director, he might have done a better job.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think that he should have been cast for that role. I just think he's not a great...
Yeah. So, all right. Where were we? We were actually talking about Nintendo. All right. Yeah. We've got... Going to quickly bang through these. Senua's Sacrifice, Mortal Kombat 11. You're getting a port of Unravel 2.
Oh, right. That game's still a thing, is it?
Yeah. The little yarn Pikmin-looking things. Which is just another reminder we're not getting a new Pikmin game.
I find that game to be twee.
Incredibly so, yes.
It's not... It's gone way... Like, I found, like, the wool Yoshi to be cute. Yeah. But the yarn dude, I find to be twee.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows Yoshi is for kids. But I feel like the yarn dude is for hipsters who spend all their time pretending that they know the difference between different kinds of tea.
Not the ones that actually do.
Well, those aren't hipsters. Those are like tea nerds or something.
They are tea nerds. I know a couple of tea nerds. They'd actually be pleased to be called T-nerds. I know some weird people.
Sounds like a teenager who's a nerd.
Yep. We have... This honestly baffles me. A remastered port coming to the Switch of Assassin's Creed 3. You know, the worst one.
The American one.
Right?
The American one.
Native Americans.
Oh.
So,
Some
yeah.
people like that, but I presume that those people are American.
And strange.
I only remembered that it was the American one.
It is the
I
American
don't remember. I don't know anything else about the game. It was immediately overshadowed by pirates because they had one good gimmick in the next one.
It laid the groundwork for Black Flag.
Did it?
Yes.
Like, so you couldn't do without it?
I don't know.
Well, mechanically it did. Not story-wise.
Did it have, like, some kind of
It had
fiddle-dee-dee?
So they could have just skipped 3 entirely and put in 6 months additional development work, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes, they could have. So, yeah, if you want to see high-octane document signing...
Americans are all about high-octane document signing, aren't they?
No. We're about shutting down our government so that nobody can sign documents.
And pouting about it.
I approve of that. Like, it's not like that governments do anything useful when they're open.
Yeah.
Why not shut them down?
IMO, just remove paychecks completely from anybody in office, please. They don't need them. If they got into office, they don't need a paycheck.
But that stupid woman, what's her name? Alexandria Occasional Cortex, whatever.
That's what
Wait, what?
Andrew Clavin calls her. I like
Yeah.
Steven Crowder's Alexandria Nina Pinta Santa Maria Cortez. He rolls his heart.
Oh, grief.
Like she's constantly whinging that she's poor, and taking like photos of herself in an unfurnished apartment and stuff.
That doesn't prove anything. Although that could be a new art style if you put all that in a museum. Modern art sucks.
Anything called art post like 2000 isn't art.
Yeah.
It's
Modern
low
art
effort.
is a pointy thing put in the plaza.
Well, the thing is that nobody tries to make money off of any by being an artist. As an artist, they will work for somebody who needs art, like a video games company. That's what artists do now. They want to use the.
They want to make an art and actually get paid for it before they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? What else? So we got a port of Final Fantasy VII because of course we do. That's in the works. We're getting a port of Final Fantasy IX immediately. And a game that nobody seemed to actually play or even knows existed. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody.
I remember that.
I don't remember that. You'll have
I
to
didn't play
remind
it.
me.
I remember hearing about it.
I remember it, but yeah. It kind of got overshadowed. I think the Pokemon Mystery Dungeons kind of just took that whole thing and ran with it.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon was pretty fun.
Yeah, it is. Very cute
Didn't
and
hate it.
incredibly strange when you really start to think about things.
Do you
You're
remember
a
the
person.
Pocket Station?
Not off the top of my head.
The Pocket. It was like it plugged into the memory card slot of the PlayStation. It was like the size of a Tamagotchi, and there was like a tie-in thing for Final Fantasy VIII with it,
Okay.
and it involved keeping a virtual pet chocobo, I guess, and that would help you find treasures in the chocobo forest in the game and stuff.
That's kind of
It
neat.
was really weird. It
Very,
was super
very
weird, and I don't know if they even sold the Pocket Station outside Japan.
And some junk. It sounds like the VMU for the Saturn, from what you're describing.
I wasn't a console. Something.
Something.
And some junk.
And some junk.
Yeah. So, I guess, if we want to play more Final Fantasy games again on things we've already played them on before.
I don't understand. Like, does it really sell that well every time they release it? Do people just buy Final Fantasy VII again?
They must do, or someone must be buying them.
I think that probably it's people like me. Like, I've bought Final Fantasy VII a few times, but it's usually because like I can't remember what I did with my disc, or like, oh, I can't be bothered working out how to do emulation, or I can't be bothered getting out my old console. I'll just pay a trivial amount of money and get another copy. It's not because I actually want it badly. It's because I want it at a particular moment.
Yeah.
And I can't find it.
Or couldn't be bothered.
It's like getting another tissue out of the tissue box because you can't remember where you left the other one.
All right. Now we've got a couple of new games. We have a game from Platinum called Astral Chain. I have no idea what is actually going on in this story here, or this trailer.
Probably nobody.
No, it's Platinum's usual affair, so it's bright, it's flashy, it's fast, there's combat, and it's sexy as all get out. But it makes absolutely no sense.
Does it look fun?
It looks like it could be a fun play. From what I can tell, it's two future police officers, one of which is sometimes in a mech suit, and they're chained together by an astral chain, which they can also use in, combos and things.
With a suitable amount of drama.
Of course. And there's some sort of alien, possibly, maybe, conspiracy? ?
Well, if there's aliens, yes.
Yeah. So it's got staff who worked on Bayonetta and Nier Automata on it. So you can expect the story to make about as much sense as that.
So it's edgy future ice climbers?
Yes. Except without the hammers. We had...
Good old Auto Tomato.
Good old Auto Tomato. It looks fun, and it looks flashy, but I have absolutely no idea what it's about. Just something about police officers and chains. And aliens, maybe.
I never buy games on the weight of them looking good, but I often buy games on the weight of them looking cool.
Yeah. Oh, cool it does look. Right. So a couple more announcements to go, and then we'll start wrapping up. We got an announcement of a remake of A Link to the Past. Oh, sorry, no, wrong one. Link's Awakening.
A lot of people probably wet themselves because there's a strong contingent of people who think that Link's Awakening is the best Zelda game ever made.
Yeah, and I believe it was last playable on the Game Boy Advance.
Maybe.
It
was an ancient NES game, dog. I got no idea.
Oh, it was Game Boy. Game Boy Color.
It was the second game I ever emulated after Pokemon.
Yeah. So this new version, it is done up with nice new graphics. It's still got that whole, grid pattern style world, but everything looks like it's made out of plastic and could come out of a gachapod. There's a theme here again, I guess. So it's cute. Link is adorable. And everything else is cute and adorable. So I could be persuaded to get that. I did like Link's Awakening the first time around.
I would be interested to see how they do it, see how close to the old way of doing things they go. Like if they can go back to proper classic Zelda dungeoning, I might be interested. It's just I was not. Nothing about Breath of the Wild captured my imagination at all. And I loved Ocarina of Time, but Breath of the Wild just left me completely cold.
Yeah, it's Breath of the Wild is just a 3D exploration game. That's all it is. Just a big world to explore. We have plenty of those nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I really want to explore an open world, like, I don't see any reason not to just install Skyrim again. That way I can mod it to crap and do whatever I want and set up the game that I want to play and then play it.
Yeah, but we already have a high fantasy third-person adventure game, too. It's called Witcher 3.
Yeah, I've
way better.
got that, and I haven't even played it yet. I mean, there's a lot of material to mine there. So
There is a lot of game, yes. Oh boy. All right. Let me see what was left. I think that's about it.
Right. That's all I see on the list.
Yeah. The only
There's
other
like
little
some
bit of
RPG.
note. Oh, yeah. Only other little bit of note is just hints saying the next patch for Smash Bros. Is going to come out later in the spring. Which
Yeah.
is,
more
winter.
delays at Nintendo, by the way.
Well, they just put out patch 6 like last week.
Well, they said the whole Challenger Pack would be out when middle last year would be out at the very first of the year in January.
Well,
Yeah.
let's be real. When it comes to fighting games, you can get away with murder as far as delaying things go.
Yeah.
Releasing a gajillion patches.
Yeah. So they put out.
Capcom set the bar for that as far as releasing incomplete products goes.
So, yeah, they put out Piranha Plant. They've only just gotten a new character, so they got a little bit of wiggle room there.
Oh, Capcom.
Yeah. All right. Now, all they said is there will be surprises in it. You know, the way they say absolutely nothing about it, but still manage to generate hype.
Yeah, pretend they're still working on stuff.
Yeah.
Ah.
All right.
All right, let's wrap up because
Let's
I'm
get out of
tired.
here. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing in this house anyway.
Yeah.
Creepy old lady's house. Ugh.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, I have been incredibly tired for most of the past shows we've been doing, but I think I'm coping with it better. Since I can't fix the problem and make myself get less adulting, I'm just learning to deal with always being tired and still do stuff despite being tired.
Just got to get used to it.
Yeah, and just pass out whenever I'm allowed to.
Power through it.
I'm pretty sure that's called getting old.
Yeah.
Eventually you pass out in the grave and you don't get back up.
Well, that was morbid.
Very.
Don't adult kids. This is what it does to you.
The
And I'm
adult.
supposed to be the happy one.
Do we even have a
Not
happy
really.
one?
No,
No.
No,
we don't.
we've never had a happy one. When did we have a happy one?
I'm comparing myself to Vol, who's always angry at everything. So, by contrast, I'm the happy one.
Yeah, I was pretty angry this week as well. I didn't talk about it on the show because we had too much other stuff to talk about. Yeah, that Vic Magnolia situation.
Mignana.
It just gets worse and worse. Every time I hear about it.
Doesn't it just?
Yeah. Like, they really just screwed that guy over for no reason. Like, so he doesn't agree with your politics. So he's, a bit religious. Is this really a good reason to destroy a man's life? Oh, turns out, in the modern world, it is.
And he's a great voice actor. He's always been in the list I've praised for doing good performances. I don't want to see him go away.
And the thing is, I've seen so much stuff that's just been doctored to indict him.
Yeah.
They
my
don't
favorite
even
thing,
care.
like that picture that's going around of him kissing a girl and like, oh, look, sexual
It's
harassment.
pixelated out so they can't see that she was actually totally on board.
And even then, if for the people that make the argument it is or Photoshop it to look like it is instead of pixelating it out, no, she totally consented to it. The girl in that picture came out and said, no, I asked him to do that.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop.
It's
good old
because he
A&M.
played. It's because he played the main male lead or the main lead in Orin High School Host Club, and that's his favorite character he played. That's why he was doing it. Not because he's a misogynist.
I've also seen like videos and that of him interacting with fans, and they cut out all the parts where he's like touchy and feely with the dudes as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They just cut those parts out.
Whenever he's doing that kind of stuff, he's doing it for the fans because
He's
they want to see.
Italian for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Italians always do that crap.
Yeah. Like he's doing it because he likes Tamaki, and the fans like Tamaki, and he wants to give the fans what they want. That's what all that crap is. It's all in character for a character he played.
Well, it's not even necessarily in character. He's just a naturally friendly, affectionate person, and he's Italian, so he expresses it physically. But everybody already knows that. Like, all of his fans know this. They know exactly what sort of person he is, and so they don't roll up to him and put their arm around him if they don't know what he's going to do. That's just it's ridiculous. And I think the key fact is, of course, that nobody's taken anything to the police ever, including right now.
Yeah.
So that tells me that there's no crime.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just gets worse and worse, and I was deeply appalled at the number of fair weather friends of his, people who he genuinely thought were his friends, who have always palled around with him in the past, just up and stabbing him in the back, making sure he got fired from his job, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Like, it's pretty disgusting. But I mean, I was talking to Fern about it, and my theory on the matter is that they are all members of the Church of Social Justice, so they know if they do not turn on him, they will be next up against the wall. In order to preserve their own careers, they have to be the most savage because they were the closest.
As that's how social justice works.
It's a cult, guys.
It's a cult.
It's a cult. If you don't agree with the cult, they will destroy you. If you do agree with the cult, they'll destroy you just a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
And take your money.
And
If you're
take your
lucky,
job.
they'll take money.
If you've
Just
got
your
kids,
money
they'll
would
take your
be good
kids.
fortune. Yeah, I've just been pretty disgusted with this, and the only real consolation is that large sections of the fandom have woken up to the fact that these accusations are complete bull.
Yeah.
Like, the reality is that none of us can know whether or not he has committed any of the infractions that are attributed to him for sure, but there is no evidence that he did. If there's no evidence that he did, then he at the very least deserves to stay in court, but more realistically should be treated as innocent until there's any evidence whatsoever.
Yeah.
We all know that won't happen.
That's not going to happen.
Because as we all know, there's no such thing as false allegations of sexual assault, as ANN helpfully told us in their review of Rising of the Shield Hero.
Yep.
Because that worked real well.
Worked totally well.
We love you, Vic. You nailed Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist.
Totally did.
The thing is, he's played the character. The thing that really sticks in my teeth is he's played the character he's accused of being. That was who Curse Weber was in Full Metal Panic. He was that character. He's like a sort of like a womanizing, overly handsy playboy who will basically hit on anything female. Like, he played that character. And so it just seems like they're just transparently lifting his character and applying it to him in order to make up these accusations.
Yeah.
Boy.
It's sad, but...
Yeah, so he's been fired from Funimation. They're refusing to ever work with him ever again, claiming that they did an investigation themselves, which proved that the allegations were true, or at least that they said as a result of their investigations, they've decided to fire him and refuse all further contact.
Yes, but anyone who actually
means that
asks to
they
see this evidence, yeah.
Yeah, this is...
more like they held an
investigation
internal kangaroo court.
Yeah, that sounds more like it.
Their investigation involved going on Twitter and seeing all the people that were angry.
What I've heard from people who have sources and insiders is that it was just a cadre of his most jealous enemies in the voice actors community who worked for Funimation, went to Funimation and said that they were going to pull from all their projects unless they fired Vic on the spot.
I bet it was Bryce Papenbrook. Bet it was Papenbrook.
Well, it was the ringleader's Monica Rial, from what most people have seen.
Oh,
Yeah.
her
That sounds like
behavior
her.
over the
But
last week has been appalling.
One of the other leaders, she's been the most overtly appalling over this past week. But the other ringleader alongside her is the woman who injected all the feminism into Kobayashi Dragon Maid.
Mm-hmm.
She's the other one. But,
Hang on. Yeah. Who does Monica play again?
lots and lots of roles.
Yeah,
she's another old hand like Vic, and Vic probably thought she was a friend of his.
Yeah, I had to
Like,
go to her list. Oh, she's Bulma.
she is
There
Bulma.
there are photographs of them hanging out together like a week before she brought out these accusations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so transparent. Yeah, you know. I didn't actually intend to go on a rant about this, but I would kind of like for people at least to be mindful that just because there's a big furore about someone having done something wrong doesn't mean they actually did. If there's no evidence they actually did it, you have to treat them as though it is something that is yet to be proven.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she was the one that gave Sayaka from Danganronpa the helium voice.
Yep.
Is this a high crime?
Yes, she took the bait lead, female lead of Danganronpa, and when she played her in the animation, she sounded like she had snuffed helium right before she did it. It was really bad.
High school weeaboo.
This is, you can't trust a woman with purple hair. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's never been on. She's been on the I guess I'll take it list of voice actors. It's not the worst, but no, she doesn't have any big standout roles.
Her roles strike me mostly as being,
tertiary characters.
Or no, she's a Pappenbrook, basically.
Yeah, well,
she has a humongous number of roles, and because she gets on everything somehow, and has a few like really key roles, like she plays Index, she plays Sakura from Cardcaptor Sakura, like those are really big names. But mostly, she just gets on every project somehow.
Anywho, we were wrapping up.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. If they replace Vic with anybody for Junpei and any Persona 3 stuff, I'll riot. That's when I'll get really into it.
Well, they will replace him in anything where Funimation's involved. But judging by the controversy that Atlas is currently going through, that must not be one of their priorities.
Yeah. Dare I ask?
Well, we should let this save for next time because we're running late already.
We should.
Right.
Yep. So remind us next week, Catherine, in an email, and we'll talk to you about it then.
Right. Yes.
So,
all right. Take us out.
Closing comments, go.
I don't want adult anymore.
I don't either. Adult
Monica Rial played Bien Phu.
Yeah. I could say it.
Bien Phu.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Team Cherry, I still love you guys. Send us out on a positive note. Y'all are the best. Please keep showing the game industry how it works, and maybe some people emulate you.
Yeah,
all right,
keep being great.
Yep. I think we're done. So, email talk of the week is all the stuff we just talked about. We'll see you next week. Sayonara. Bye-bye.